All right, welcome back to another episode of Around the Indoor Football World, where we talk about all the major indoor football leagues from the IFL to the AF1 to the AAL, the TAL, as well as the NAL. So we cover basically every league you guys want to hear about. So if you have not checked out the show in the past, thank you for joining us this morning. But without further ado, we're going to go ahead and hit a quick intro video and then welcome on our first guest to talk in depth a little bit more about the AAL draft. All right, we are joined by the commissioner of the AAL and then also the Jersey Bearcats head coach and commissioner of the AAL2, AJ Roque and Kevin O'Hanlon. How are you gentlemen doing this morning?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. And then before we get into this, Krish, how are you doing today? Which country are you in today, I should ask, right?
No, I'm finally back home. It's good to be back. Excited for the show.
Awesome. Cody, how are you doing this morning, man?
Doing all right. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for joining us this morning. Excited to have you again. TJ, how are you doing this morning, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, and I'm in PA like always. So,
Awesome. There you go. Not quite the world traveler Krish is. It's okay. We'll forgive you for it this time. But let's go
I
ahead.
went down the street for some gas for my car this morning, though. So little travel.
There you go. Branching out a little bit. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get into this. We've talked about the AL draft a couple times before, but it hasn't really been the detailed breakdown that maybe we could do with these gentlemen here this morning. So I kind of wanted to give you the floor, Kevin. I know we've talked about it in the past. You have some pretty awesome ideas about the draft in particular, how it's going to be presented and things like that. So I kind of want to just give you the floor and kind of give your thoughts on what the draft is supposed to look like and feel like for the players and for the AL and AL too.
Thanks, Sam. I appreciate the floor. Yeah, we're not reinventing the wheel, right? What we want to do is, as we've partnered with the AAL2 and the AAL together, is truly develop, right? So now that we're developing the teams, we can help develop the organizations. At the same time, give them players that feel, right? All right, they went through college, they played their football. Maybe they didn't get to finish college, whatever the case may be. But also at the same time, they didn't get to have that experience, right? Not saying every player in the AAL2 or however we grow this has had that opportunity, but if we can just give it to them a little bit and let them have that experience, I think it's part of the development stage, right? Love that we're doing it with the AAL2. So what's that going to look like in 2026? We're going to have our first AAL draft. It's being hosted by the Columbus Lions, so thank you to Roger Buck. It's going to be a pretty special venue, and it's not New York City. That's great. It's Columbus, Georgia, but all the accommodations are to me pretty top notch. We know he's rolling out the red carpet for us. We're doing a lot of good things. Each team will have its own war room. And they'll get to review film for all the players that sign up. Let me take a quick step backwards. So the players, we're going to be opening up the registration for the draft here shortly. Players will get to sign up for the draft. They're AAL2 roster members. They will sign up for the draft. They will make sure that they check the one box that's really important, that when they get drafted, they will go to the 4 locations of the teams, depending on who drafted them. The teams who draft them are bringing them in. It is on their dime. So it's not like, man, I'm in Michigan and now I got to go all the way down to Mississippi. How am I getting there? The team's bringing you in. The team's housing you. The team's feeding you. At the draft, we'll announce you. You're drafted. You're now your player rights are owned by that AAL team. So we draft Bob Kennedy to the Mississippi Wolfpack. Bob Kennedy goes in, gets number one. If he's on the we're going to call it exempt part of the roster. So the AAL will have an exempt roster list. So not only will they have their 25-man AAL roster, but it can be increased to 27 at any point. They'll have an exemption for the 2 players. So they're not held like, how are we going to play them now, right? Because maybe the AAL2 guys don't catch up as quick. I mean, there's going to be a different level of play, the speed, different offense, different defense than they're used to wherever they're at. So they'll get an exemption, they'll get to play, and they're getting paid. So you are a professional athlete. Everyone here, once you're getting paid what you're doing, what are you? You're a professional athlete. Now, we're not talking 2 and 3 commas in their checks, of course, but they're getting paid to play, and there's additional cost. They're housed, which ownership, of course, is paying for that. They're fed. There's medical. There's insurance. There's the gear. There's whatever else comes along with it. There's travel. But this player now, guess what? No longer has to worry about it. AAL2, these guys are working 9 to 5s. They're loading in their car. They might be driving 1 or 2 hours, paying for gas, paying for their meals to play a football game for 2.5, 3 hours. And they can do the same thing going back home, all out of their pocket, right? And the biggest thing that I believe is quality film. We have a few other things on board for every team from the AAL2 to the AAL to have an additional outlet for film that can be broken down or edited that they can send up to leagues. Hey, the IFL, the AF1, UFL, CFL, wherever their talent takes them, and the AAL teams providing a quality atmosphere, right? They know the Columbus Lions, Willing Miners are high caliber football teams that they have sent players to higher levels. And we continue to do that throughout the 26-27 season and so forth. So now the AAL2 player who has been drafted is playing in AAL games. If Bob Kennedy just isn't pulling his weight at, say, he's a center, whatever position you guys want to make it out to be. And the Mississippi Wolfpack decide we're going to send him back to the Jersey Bearcats, for example, and a former AAL2 team, but let's just say that's where he's going. They still, as long as they just designate him for assignment, kind of using some baseball terminology here now, right? He is still the rights of the Wolfpack. He's playing for his home AAL2 team. But now, if you remember, they're going to have 4 folks to 5 folks to draft. So say they have 4. They could bring up the 3rd or 4th now to their exempt. They are now activated to the Mississippi Wolfpack roster. So we're truly developing these players continuously. The only time Bob Kennedy is no longer a member of the Wolfpack in the AAL is if he's clearly cut. I hate that word, but he's released. He goes back to his AAL2 team, and now the season's being played out in the AAL. He's released. If the Willing Miners go, man, we really need a center. We like what Bob Kennedy did. They now could bring Bob Kennedy up. Of course, he's released from Mississippi, so all rights are released with him as well. So we're looking to grow this, of course, as much as we can. We want to continue to develop the AAL2 players, the AAL2 organizations. I mean, I know I see a lot. You got the Jersey Bearcats moved from the AAL2 to the AAL, and you got the Mississippi Wolfpack that moved up. That's what I love to see. I want to develop the players. I want to develop the organizations. Heck, down to the dance teams. We want to bring other things into the AAL to expand the AAL to more than an arena football league, right? And hopefully, what I want to see is we're having AAL combines after the 26th season. I have big plans for that. Partnering with, a college conference that I think is untapped potential power. But you see these players every day, and they struggle to get to get their foot in the door. Well, I want to take AAL coaches. I want to join this conference and have a conference-specific combine. We have teams right now having workouts today as we speak right now, which is great. But we want to go partner with this conference. I want to say it so bad, but I can't. And here we have these conference coaches and the AAL coaches holding collaboratively this workout. And then guess where we're going to draft next? This conference workout. So now we're partnering with a college conference workout, and who knows how far we can expand it. I talked yesterday to a colleague of mine in Hawaii, and he reached out to me organically. I didn't reach out to him, and he just said, "Hey, Coach," because I have coached him in the past, I need to get some more of my Hawaiian boys in these leagues. What can I do? I'll put you up out here in Hawaii. Well, let's go. I think that's great to do, to expand and let it grow organically. But right now, we're worrying about 2026, the draft that I'm happy to say, Sam, you guys are going to be part of. I'm excited about that. Um, and we just keep on growing this further and further. We're not reinventing the wheel, right? We see it every April in the NFL, but we want to give these kids a legit opportunity to be drafted, a legit opportunity to feel that experience. The only thing we're really hoping we get is players who sign up who can come on site and be on site. That has to be logistics has to be worked out a little bit, but I'm excited for it.
Definitely very excited myself. Obviously, as you mentioned, we'll be very, very involved in the coverage. In fact, I just requested the time off my day job literally yesterday. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'm looking forward to going down to Georgia to participate in the draft. But Cody, do you have any questions about the draft?
Yeah. What brings this up? I guess I think you guys are going to be the only arena indoor league that's going to do a draft, if I'm not mistaken, or at least one at this level. Why bring it up right now compared to the other leagues? Is it just to be different? Is it just like, hey, we want to showcase talent, spread the wealth out? What's the idea behind it?
Great question, Cody, and I thank you for it. That's everything you said. There was exactly it. We want to be different. We want to develop these young men. We want them to have the opportunity to just experience it, right? So we're not doing anything different, and we're not the first arena league to try this or indoor league to try this. That's been tried way in the past, but this is our product, and we want our product to be set differently, and it will draw players. Look, yesterday the call from of course, somebody I know, a colleague from Hawaii, wants to get more guys in an indoor and arena league. An opportunity to partner with a historic conference in college football. You guys see them every Saturday. They play in bowl games. And to sit back and have that opportunity, I think just deepens the pool. And we're not sitting back thinking this is only going to grow the AAL. Man, we know other leagues will tap into this talent pool, and we're okay with that. It's okay. We're the AAL. We're just going to do our AAL thing, and I mean, it's still going to be cool. And I'm like what you guys are doing right now, right? It's great to have these shows, these podcasts. You guys are living dreams you guys wanted to live. But to sit back and be a 23, 24-year-old kid, or maybe older or younger, and it's not the biggest stage in the world. It's in Columbus, Georgia. Maybe you stopped and got some boiled peanuts on the way to the draft, but you're going to get a phone call. Maybe you're at your 9 to 5 and you're wondering, what is this jersey number calling me for? And next thing you know, here's AJ Roque letting somebody know we're going to draft you here in this next round. And, that's what it's about, right? Everyone here just got a little bit of butterflies in their stomach just thinking about that their phone would have rang. And that's really it. And my plan is to grow this in the future to something even bigger.
And I think also, we're not really looking at what other leagues are doing, right? We just want to be the AAL and the AL2.
That definitely makes sense. I mean, you guys obviously have a little bit different model than a lot of leagues around now. I think you're probably the only league that has a dedicated developmental league that moves the guys up into the professional ranks as you guys do. So I think this draft was not only a natural progression for the league, but I think it's an awesome thing. My thing that Kevin had said to me off camera at one point is that he wanted to give the players that missed out on the opportunity to be drafted to the NFL. He wanted to be able to give those players that opportunity to feel what it's like to have their name called in a draft, to be put on a draft board, which I think is awesome, because there's a lot, what's the statistic? Like 1% of college athletes gets a chance at the NFL. So, this is a chance for the other 99%, that, or obviously not that large of a chunk, but those guys that are going to entertain arena football can come this route. TJ, do you have any questions about the draft?
Not about the draft, but you guys just said obviously you're focused on yourself, not any other current leagues. But in terms of past leagues, did you kind of look at what the AFL and AF2 did back in the 2000s and do take any of their, maybe business minds or any of the structure and install it into what you're doing now?
Honestly, yeah, of course we did, right? I mean, myself and AJ have been around this league a long time. I've been around these arena or indoor leagues for over 30 years. And we really slow played this. When AJ acquired the AAL, I sat back. I was like, man, that's awesome. I'm going to give him a call and see how can I help. For those that don't know, I coached AJ. I was on the coaching staff with the team with him with the Lehigh Valley Steelhawks. What we did is we just sat back and we really slow played this in the sense of we did look at every league. And it was important to us to sit back and ask questions. Okay, here, and this isn't with malice or I don't mean this with ill intent. The AFL is no more. Why are they no more? All these teams and these leagues are no more. Why are they no more? So, I mean, we were going to kick this off pre-COVID. So, luckily, and I mean this again to sound this way, but COVID kind of afforded us the time because everything was closing down, as we know, to sit back and go, okay, number one, thank you, because we weren't as ready as we wanted to be, because we didn't know what we didn't know at the time. But we were able to sit back and go, why are these teams failing? So it's not that we took anything negative or positive away from any of these other leagues. What we did is we just researched and understood like why. What is the gap that's making all these teams fail? Because if the teams fail, the league fails. Without the teams and their ownership, it don't matter what the league brings. It doesn't matter how much sponsorship the league has. The AFL was thriving. I love the AFL. Massive Soul fan. That was my number one league I sent my players to. So I think that's the biggest part of it. I hope that answers your question, TJ. So in a way we just want to make sure that we're different. And what we're bringing to the value is to the players and to ownership, number one. But the players will see we have legit ownership, that we're not worrying about, is there housing? We're not worrying about if these players are not being fed properly. We're not worrying about if there's not medical provided behind them. We're not worried about when the people come into the arena, and you'll hear me say this all year, I honestly don't care if the people know the score of the game. It's the bowl. It's the seats around the football field. And if you can go there with your kids, say 2, 3 kids, whatever, it's going to be cheaper than going to a movie. You might catch a football. You might get a T-shirt. Your daughters might be hanging out with the dance team. Your sons might be out there doing the games on the field. And you leave and you go, wow, that was awesome. And then the next thing you know, you're seeing the players in the community. Maybe they're reading books at your kid's school one day. That's what I want. Because what that happens, now we have organic growth. And it just continues to grow. And every league tries to do that. And they do very good jobs at it. I mean, Omaha Beef. I mean, they do a great job at it, right? There's a lot of teams that get it right. But if a lot of teams in that league aren't getting it right, then the league suffers. So, we hear a lot, TJ. 4 teams, man. What are you guys doing, 4 teams? I can tell you we're doing it right. All 4 teams will play every game. All 4 teams will make sure they have a great venue as far as entertainment. Fans will be entertained. And, I keep hearing, and he's not on here because of this, The Jersey Bearcats, man. I know he hates this. You see the arena they play in? Yeah, but when they come to your arena and you're sitting there in your beautiful high ceilings, that team's going to punch you square in the lips. They don't know. They have no idea there's glass walls up. They don't care. They're there to play football. And I love that. Ain't that what we're all looking for? You know, it would be great to have a 48 to nothing football game, but 68 to 60 is a lot better. And you know, those guys are walking in a locker room, dragging their helmets in, and you had a great time. And then you get to meet the players. So that's it. We're going to make sure we're in this for the long haul. Everything we've done, everything we have planned, I mean, from expansion to expansion of the draft to combines with college conferences, see how we can work out this Hawaii thing. It's very new. To even, you know, maybe going outside of arena football to grow the AAL. So we have a lot of plans, but one step at a time. And right now, the first step is the draft.
We have a question from the chat that I wanted to get to, but we will get that just a sec. Texas Pete, don't worry, it'll come up. A couple comments here. Texas Pete says no better crew to cover the draft than us, which is an awesome compliment. Really appreciate that, Texas Pete. Roger Beck tuning in. We have a true developmental league ready for the draft, and then also good morning tryouts this morning. So if you're in the Columbus, Georgia area and you haven't signed up already, tryouts this morning. That's your opportunity to get to the professional level right now. What's up, Credit Z? And then Texas Pete says, what are the plans for expansion with AAL if you guys want to discuss that at this point?
I'll say a little bit, and then by all means, AJ, finish up because I know how we're going to handle this together. We wish there weren't so many people at our door. They're not knocking, they're kicking. We have to be very vanilla with what we say because there's contracts involved with other leagues, and we're not trying to put anyone out there on blast. But clearly, and what I believe is causing the knocking and the kicking on the door is what we've set up here for ownerships of teams. But expansion, I know we're looking all the way out to 2028 right now with teams planning, wanting. We've said no probably more than we're going to say yes right now, but expansion is not a challenge right now for us. AJ?
Yeah, I just want to go back to Roger's comment. You know, a true developmental league. Right, as coaches have these tryouts and stuff, and you know, a guy is good, but he just needs more, you know, arena experience. There is no other place to go where you're gonna get truly developed, right? There's coaches that are in the AL2 that actually played back in the AFL when the AFL was the real deal. You know, guys that have coached in the NAL before, and guys that have just played and been around the game for years. So I don't think a lot of people really understand that, and don't understand why and how a lot of our guys end up, you know, going other places from the AL2 is because they're being coached by guys who actually have been at the top playing in these leagues. So I think that gets really frowned upon because people don't understand and really don't pay attention to the AL2. So why not have a league to help guys gain that experience? Because when the coach tells a player, oh, you got to get more experience, okay, then what? And then you got, you know, some coaches say, oh, well, I'm not recruiting guys at AL2. So where's he going to go get his other experience from for you to potentially bring him back if he doesn't go get quality coaching from actual people who played the game before at the level that you're coaching at?
Exactly. And that's what I like about this model is that players don't get kicked to the curb typically. You know, they get, like, for lack of a better term, they get recycled in the system, you know, so they keep getting opportunities to grow, to improve on, you know, whatever it may be that they need to work on to get to the level where they need to be at the professional level. So right. I think in this particular case, I mean, we've seen it with the AAL2 and other leagues countless times. I can't even begin to name all the players that we've talked about. So, I mean, with the fact that you now have the AAL direct connection, I think it's, if anything, it's just a more direct path for them to get to that level. So I think it's a great opportunity for players, especially players that are unheralded coming out of college and stuff that can get the opportunity to play professional ball. But this is a question more for, I believe, AJ. Is there a set plan for moving AAL teams up to the AL if they want to play professional ball?
There is, but honestly, it comes down to financials at the end of the day, right? You can always accept teams and yeah, come on in, and next thing you know, it's week 3 and they can't make travel, right? So it's more than just saying yeah. There is plans, right? But it really comes down to financials, right? In the end of it, because your financials are going to be able to set you apart from the AL2, right? Be able to make you have a competitive roster, make you be able to treat guys professional, make you be able to travel, right? So it really all comes down to financials. And then with financials, you can also get an arena. So, it's not a hard thing to understand and make it available for teams to do it. It's just got to be careful of who you say yes and no to.
That is fair. I'm going to leave you guys with one more questions, and then we'll give you the floor for a couple minutes to say anything you want to say to fans before we bid you guys adieu this morning. But Brian has a great question that I don't think I've ever even asked you guys off camera. Any consideration to having a Pro Bowl-like game for the AAL2 players?
Yes. So like an all-star game type?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. And that's something, we talked about last year. It really comes down to the logistics for that with the guys in the AL2. Some not, being able to make it possibly, but that's definitely something to that we've considered and look forward to having, definitely in the very, very, very near future. Very near future.
Awesome. Any final thoughts for fans or anything you want to get out there about the draft before we let you guys get out of here for this morning?
Yeah, I just want to make sure the draft is clearly understood, right? I felt like I breezed through it, probably did a poor job explaining it. So you're drafted, 4 or 5 rounds. So AAL teams can get, let's just say, 4 members drafted to their team. They're allowed to carry 2 through the whole year on that exempt list. So although their season roster is 25, it'll be 27 to exempt. Now it has to be clearly defined every week. Turning in their rosters every week from any player signed. So on game day, their 21-man roster could be 23 exempt. And we want them to play too. So remember, they have 4. If the 2 they have up there aren't cutting it, they could still pick one of the 2 that are at their hometown AAL2 team. So it's not like we're just having a draft to give somebody, the feeling, which is paramount in this, right? But they're actually going to be playing. Their role depends on how they've developed. Are they just running down on kickoffs or kickoff return? We don't know. But now that is on the team to develop the players. So it's like a whole circular effect. Are you going to sit back and tie up a roster spot, a bed, housing, medical for this player that you can't develop? You're going to release his rights, send him back to his hometown AL2 team and bring up number 3 or player 4? Where do you need help right now? How did you draft? Like, this is just starting to play out right now where you hear some of these owners are thinking about chess right now and who's going to be playing checkers. We have 4 spots. Are we drafting 3 players and the best athlete? What are we doing? And I love how they're thinking, right? Because now it adds even depth to their organization and importance for the players to make sure they're putting in quality film. When you player registers, they must put a link in for their film, or guess what doesn't get accepted? Their registration. So we're taking this as serious as we do with team. And go back to something AJ said. We would love to develop AAL2 teams. I do the vetting. It's pretty strict. We were very excited very early on with 3 teams that were presented to us from down south, and they just sat back and was like, here's our arena for each team. It was within 2 states, 3 teams in 2 states. And we need our dates. The next day, I just happened to know the GM at 2 of the arenas. Never heard of the teams. Didn't know who they were, nothing. So by day 3, they were out. So we're not going to play with our audience, right? We're not going to sit back and promise we're growing to 12 teams next year. It's not organic. Could we? More than likely, but it's not organic and it's not fair to our owners. What would happen then is, how's the draft work? Now we're having a draft for 16 teams. How does that look? You guys are not going to, you'd be employees then, because you'd be doing so much work to do the draft coverage and everything, which I can't wait to see. As these players are signing up for the draft when it opens today, you guys have homework. With every registration, you guys have homework. You got to get to know the players. You got to get to know where they're at, what their strengths are, and everything. And I think that's great. Just think about that as a player. Who's calling me? Sam's calling from Shady Sports, TJ, Cody, whomever, and you're getting to know the players. Not my business to know how you're going to have your guys cover this, Sam, but maybe Cody takes offense and TJ takes defense. And I don't know, you take quarterbacks. Who knows?
Yep.
But it's just a great experience for everybody. The Columbus, again, is doing great things down there. It's top notch for what I believe is major minor professional sports is how I'm looking at it, and just to give the kids the dream and make sure the draft is covered. So if you sign up and you get drafted, you got to make the exempt list and you're getting paid. And here's the thing. It's what the owners of the teams wanted. The owners want to make sure the guys are getting paid. Not AJ, not Kevin. Well, AJ, alternate AJ, the Bearcats owner. They want the players played. They want them developed. They want them to be in camp and ask for an exemption. Like, otherwise, what are we doing? Love it. So everyone's all in. It's not being said just for your show, Sam. It is all in, all hands on deck. So these players, get registered. The quicker you register, the more in-depth research you can do. And when the players register, it goes to every team. Every team knows who registered. So it's not like Kev sent everybody to Roger, no one to Mississippi and AJ. No, same time. They hit that registration button. Registration's complete, done accurately. All 4 teams get it. I believe also there's making sure you guys get it so you can do your research. So I don't know where we missed with this. I'm sure we will find out. We don't have any thoughts that we're 100% all bases covered, but I think we're pretty tight. I think we're pretty good.
From the outside looking in, it looks pretty good so far. But AJ, any final thoughts before we let you guys get out of here?
Yeah, just real quick. Anything we the AL2 puts out, it's real, right? A lot of things are put out, not all leagues, some, right, to look good, look on top and things and look cool. But anything that comes out from the AL it's real. And some people may say, oh, well, there's not a lot of content with the AL or news well, they're for reasons, right? You want to make sure it's real, right, before anything goes out, right? We've been around this game for a very long time. People may not know that, right, or care because the AL, they're not well-known people or whatever. But we know just as much as most of everybody else that's been around, in this game for a while. And we're just happy to build, man, and give guys a platform, right, to continue playing. And, I said this to Roger and Kevin last night in a text. You could bet the house on it that next year, any doubts or any questions that you're having about the AL right now, let's revisit this, screenshot it, record it, and let's revisit me saying that, right? Because we know where we're going. We know what and who has reached out to us. And we're ready to look forward, to the future and move on. and continue making this thing, affordable for owners.
That's the key fact that keeps sticking out to me, is that it's affordable and owner centric. It seems like the owners are at the heart of everything you guys do in the AAL, which to me speaks to sustainability long term. But thank you so much for your time this morning, gentlemen. Look forward to speaking more on the draft, on all of the AAL2 content. So while AJ mentioned there's not a lot of it coming out, it is the off season. There are multiple different shows in the works, so to keep an eye out on the AAL2 page and the AAL page for those as well. So don't worry, we got plenty of content coming for you guys this off season, and especially as we close in on the draft, I'm sure. So on that note, thank you again, guys, for joining us. Look forward to speaking again to both of you guys in the future.
Sure. Yeah, thank you as always. All the extended coverage that you guys give our leagues. So appreciate you guys for that.
Absolutely.
Thank you for having us, Sam, and sorry for the homework you guys are going to have here shortly with the draft registrations.
I'm
Hope
excited.
you guys have a blast with it.
I'm excited. I'm a draft nerd, so this is going to be a lot of fun for me. So I can't wait.
Draft registration.
Think the historic first pick. That guy. Imagine being that guy. The first AAL draft and the first pick ever. There's not going to be a second one. You're the first pick.
That's true.
And registration is now open on AmericanArenaLeague.com. AmericanArenaLeague.org.
Absolutely.
There will be a new website coming in April.
If you did not catch it, I actually dropped the link in the chat earlier. So go back up a little bit and you'll be able to find the link for the draft and for the registration page. So go ahead and click on that. If you're a player, highly recommend signing up to play for the AAL2 and then entering the draft. I mean, it's a great opportunity for you guys to go from, not on a roster to on a professional roster in the span of a couple weeks. So what better way to get an opportunity? But once again, thank you guys so much for your time. Look forward to speaking to you guys in the future. And once again, if you're a player, what better opportunity could you ask for? But on that note, we're going to hit a quick commercial break, and then we'll welcome on our next guest, Gabriel Martinez with Nino Pro Sports, an agency that has helped countless players up to the professional level as well. So given that we're closing out an AAL segment, this feels like a pretty appropriate commercial to run.
Into the end zone, touchdown! Russell has to step up in the pocket, has some room in front of him, gets that three-step drop, hits up the pressure, passes complete to Flowers, back to pass, pressure coming, has somebody in the end zone, touchdown! Russell, pressure's coming, Russell able to escape, still on his feet, and will be brought down at the looking, has plenty of time, has Flores at the 15, he's at the 10, and Russell has it on the outside. Like I said, he ain't taking a slide. Russell steps up, lets one go. Robinson makes the circus catch. It's going to be a low snap. Here comes the pressure, and the pass is going to be complete. And making the catch of Grant Russell. Russell, back to pass, looking. He has Robinson makes the catch, and will be brought down on the play by Isaiah Hall.
How many times a week? Like, three, four times, maybe.
I'm gonna pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
All right, we are back with, in the words of Krish, super agent Gabriel Martinez. Gabe, how you doing this morning, man? Oh, you're muted, my friend.
There we go. I'm good, guys. How about yourself?
Doing great. Thank you for joining us this morning. Man, I'm not even sure where to start. I mean, you can touch on basically every topic. You have a little bit of knowledge of every league. Is there a specific league you'd like to talk about today?
Hey, man, I'm open to whatever. We've been blessed to place guys already at a half dozen leagues for this upcoming season. So wherever you guys want to start, I'm game.
Awesome. Krish, I'll let you open up the questions on this one.
Good to see you, boss. One of the questions I have for you is recently, a couple days ago, the UFL draft, day 1 and day 2 took place. Were you disappointed at all by the process, and what's your reaction to the whole thing?
Yeah, pretty candidly, extremely disappointed by how things played out. We're still working through it. I've been in contact as of just yesterday, really, with the new president of football operations there, specifically about Q Williams, that played with Iowa last year, and Isaiah Scott that was with Albany. Both those guys signed letters of intent to play in the UFL with Memphis. Of course, Memphis no longer exists, and they weren't absorbed in the draft. But at this point, there's still probably at minimum, 60% signed. So we're looking at probably 30 to 40% still available. They told me they're going to start allowing teams to sign as of Monday. So we're focused there. The disappointment can't last long. That's just like anything else. Having a coaching background, maybe you get disappointed temporarily, but then you pivot and you go ahead and say, okay, well, what can we do? What can we control? And that's where I'm at right now, is just wanting to try and control our effort and output and making sure that Q and Isaiah both get seen by as many people as possible, specifically with the UFL, but we're also broadening up a little bit to the CFL as well.
Understandable. There seems to be a lot of guys that had gotten signed to an LOI and then got left out of the draft. I mean, that's got to be a tough situation for any player going through that, and as well for agents. You make all the effort to get the guy signed in the first place, and then basically it's just the piece of paper glows up in flames, just because the league decided to change a lot of things. So that's got to be frustrating. But on the bright side about this, there were also several players that had not previously been signed that got opportunities as well. So were you able to have any other players that did not have initial interest get interest in the draft?
We had some conversations, and we're still kind of having those conversations now with teams like Birmingham about some guys. They're looking at some interior defensive linemen right now. So I've been in talks with A.J. McCarron about that position specifically. There's 2 guys that I represent. I'll leave anonymous for now because as we're working through it, but 2 guys that are pretty high-level interior players that are getting some consideration.
Very nice. So on the flip side, you said you've placed players in 6 leagues this season. I imagine a lot of those are arena leagues. Kind of break it down to me. When you get an offer from, say you have a player and you have offers from, just hypothetically speaking, every arena league, how do you break it down for a player and tell him, which league is going to provide what and how to make his decision making on that?
Yeah, I think, if they're a type of player that's going to be getting offers from every single one, then it's a pretty good player, right? Most likely that, or they play a specific position that blocks for a quarterback and everyone wants them. That's just how it goes right now. But really we look at it, based on, what each league can offer as far as advancement. We're not considering money. My standpoint is, if you're out here trying to chase paper, you can go chase paper by yourself. You can have those conversations with coaches if they want to be like a specific team that wants to back up the truck and throw $1,000 at you to get you there. Then that's their right. That's your right. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in opportunity. And if they're a player that kind of warrants that many offers, then they're probably someone that's also on track to pushing for CFL and UFL entrance as well. So, we zero in on leagues specifically like the IFL and AF1, just because, the proof is in the pudding there, right? And we want to be the next guy that gets moved up. That's no shade to the NAL or to the TAL by any means, but it's just, it's there. The path is proven. We want to make sure we jump on that path and be the next guy in that trend to be able to move up and showcase all the stuff that the IFL has done this offseason to, get on a different platform with all their games. AF1 is doing the same, with how they're trying to make themselves visible and more sustainable. So those are the things that we really focus on.
Fair enough. TJ, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just to get a little bit of a background for the viewers, how did you get into this initially? Who was your first player that you ever helped out?
First player was a defensive back that he went on to play pretty good arena ball. To get started, man, I honestly, I was coaching at the time. I ended up coaching 13 total years between college, arena, and Europe. And honestly, man, I mean, I repeat this to players almost daily, but I got into it based on having conversations with players and them telling me that they have been ghosted by their agent. Their agent quit talking to them, quit replying to texts, answering calls, mainly because they were an NFLPA guy and they didn't get drafted. They didn't get a rookie minicamp invite, no private workout. Therefore, any chances of commission dried up, and also, the agent's energy towards his player dried up as well. So I hated that. I hated that because these are guys that at that point had pretty much wasted a full year, if not more. And they fell out of love with the game. And that's my big thing, man. Like, my place in football is more than just, an agent or a coach previously or a player before that. It's a passion thing. It's a calling. I truly believe in that. So I saw the need, started talking with some different agents that I worked with, because I was doing a lot of like player personnel with teams during that time, and eventually got on with pro level. And, they were gracious enough to let me do it as I coached, from the Czech Republic. And when I even came back to the States, they let me keep doing it, and just learned a lot, both sides, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and just keep going from there. So I've been blessed, man. This is something that ultimately, I was having to leave my family for, 6-7 months at a time to go coach somewhere. And now, I'm here, in my kitchen right now talking to you, and still able to represent, some really stellar athletes and help them kind of achieve where they want to go.
Absolutely. Cody?
Hey, how's it going, Gabe? First thing I do want to say is, excuse me. First thing I do want to say is that through your social media, it has helped me figure out where some players have gone to college as I fill out my rosters and stuff like that, because some people just have some really common names, and then you're like, oh, that's the defensive lineman with the same height and weight, and he went to Mississippi State or something like that. So kudos to you guys for putting out those graphics and letting people know where they get signed and stuff like that. It really helps out people trying to fill out rosters, things like that. My main question for you is, it's not necessarily an end goal, because this is going to be an ever-going process, but what do you see your short-term, long-term goals with this agency, what you've created? Where do you want to be? Where do you see yourself in 5 years, but do you have your plans set in front of you to be like, hey, this is where I'm going to go on this path?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that comes down to just why I decided to start the agency. We had to have a firm plan. A lot of it based in faith, man. Even just the name of it, Nino Pro. Nino is my mother's maiden name. So did that to honor, my grandparents, all my family on that side. A lot of football coaches involved in that side of things, and just a lot of passion for the sport that I got to grow up watching. So I get to kind of do that, through them and for them. So it gives me a purpose. But then my own family, like my family here, my wife, my kids, they rep our stuff, and they know what dad does, and they understand that dad's on the phone a lot talking to players. So it's a lot of time. Like you mentioned the social media side of it. That's all done in house, man. It's all, had to get a Canva subscription and teach myself how to do different things and what didn't look good and what did look good. And ultimately it's nice to have my own fingerprint on this process. I want to do things my way. And it like you said, keeps evolving. It'll be ever changing, but I think I see as time goes along, I see what coaches need. Sometimes having just a straight profile is helpful, and then sometimes that even wasn't enough. So I went ahead and Sam's seen it. Kind of made a deck layout per position group, very easy, one-click type thing, and then you can go in there and kind of scroll through like a PowerPoint presentation of who's available, everything. Their film links are tied into it. So whatever, coming from a coaching background, I understand that not all coaches are tech savvy, and so I had to break it down as simple as possible for them. As far as goals, man, I just want to keep going. I want to grow deeper and deeper, within the CFLPA and try to help as many guys in that area. Honestly, I've been blessed to have guys go to camp, but haven't quite had anybody stick around just yet. And that's something that I know I have some control in, and ultimately it comes down to what their situation is when they report. So I'm very excited for someone like Josh Castro this year to go from San Diego Strike Force into BC, going to camp, and he's been training his butt off, and he's super excited. He can't wait to get there and earn his stripes. Beyond that, honestly, I plan on taking my NFLPA next year. I'll have my requirements at that point to have that, entrance fee paid and all my requirements to be able to apply. I'm going to apply for it. I'm going to pass it, and I'm going to get that certification. So that's going to be the plan. And I still want to operate in this side of it too. I think there's a large underserved community of players at this level that don't have good representation. And I was just at the College Gridiron Showcase, and I was in a banquet hall full of like 25 agents. And the guy leading the seminar asked, how many of you guys deal with players outside of the NFL? I was the only one that raised my hand. And he was like, Arena, CFL, UFL, overseas, like none of you guys do it. And no one, they were there for NFL guys. And he was like, why do you do it? I said, because these are the guys that need it the most. The ones that are on the fringe of possibly not playing anymore, that are alternatively would be hanging up their cleats, as opposed to maybe they're still going to stick around in this route and play another 3 to 5 years and get a chance to keep leveling up. That's the biggest thing. I say it often, but my job is to help guys maximize their time on the field. That way, when it does come time for them to take off their cleats and hang them up for good, they can look back and say, hey, I did everything I could. I made as many good choices as I could. I played as high of a level as I could, and here I am.
Love that. And we have a comment in the chat real quick from Kevin, the AAL commissioner, who's just on. He says, Gabe, great work. If you have available players, I know some organizations actively looking to fill out some roster spots. So I always love to make those connections. And I had a couple more questions, or at least one more question for you. Krish, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I wanted to kind of get your thoughts on the new International Arena League that's popped up. What do you think about that?
Sorry, I'm not laughing about the league. I'm laughing because that was my question.
At this time, I don't see it panning out. Therefore, I haven't invested too much energy into it. I never want any of these places to fail, because ultimately there's a lot of players that are going to put their eggs in that basket, and I don't want them to be let down. I don't want them to go into a situation thinking they're going to a camp and reporting for a camp date, and then find out right before camp starts that the team no longer is there, or they're getting locked out of hotels, or their schedule is full of holes because other teams dropped out. I'm not saying that's the case for this league. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. However, the money involved with it is crazy. And I hope someone has deep pockets. I hope someone has taken the time to invest and really, really, step this out the way it deserves to be, because there's coaches Like the coach that was just with Naz, the coach that took over Billings as their OC or maybe head coach at the time. I know they're involved in it. I don't wish poorly for them by any means. As a coach, you don't want to walk into a situation that's not going to ultimately pan out for you. I've been there. I've been in situations that don't pan out because the organization isn't fit. So that's my take on it. I hope it continues to progress, and I hope it goes from there. But that's my thoughts at least.
I like the insight, and honestly, that would be my advice. I'm starting to hear some things that are a little bit encouraging. But I mean, at the same time, there's so many good options that are established, so many teams out there that have been around for years. If you're going to go play arena ball, why not play with an established team, a team that is going to be there next year? And then, if the league makes it, give it a shot next year, Sure. Just saying. I mean, me personally, I would say just, pump the brakes a little bit and we'll see how things go. Yeah. But Gabe, thank you so much for joining us today. You're more than welcome to stick around for the whole episode if you want. You're one of the unique guests that we have on that can talk a little bit of everything. So completely up to you, my friend.
No, I appreciate you guys. I got farm chores to do. I got chickens outside and ducks and turkeys and stuff that need to be tended to. But next time I will plan to make sure I'm available to stick around a little bit longer. And I just want to thank you guys for what you do. I don't think you get nearly enough praise and recognition for the time that you invest in this. I understand most of this is unpaid, volunteer, internship type work, but there's a lot of guys that count on you to do what you do. Players especially, to be able to look up their name and find their college and find their height and weight and stuff like that and get it on a roster. Sam, the way that you promote guys and have them interviewed just like this. Krish, I know that there's always people that know you as well because you're talking to everybody. That's a blessing to these players. It's a blessing to the game. So I encourage you guys to keep going.
Thanks, man. You've always been a huge supporter of us, and hopefully we can return the favor for you. So best of luck with Nino Pro Sports. I apologize for mispronouncing it the first time.
What are the chickens 40 times, and can you get them on a team?
You know what? If I could get 11 of them to stay together, it would be a pretty dangerous team.
There you go. I love it. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning, Gabe. We're going to hit a quick commercial break, and we'll be back with the quarterback one of the Southwest Kansas Storm, Mr. Matt Struck. So stick around. Lots more to come. All right, we are back with, as mentioned before, the quarterback number one for the Southwest Kansas Storm, Mr. Struck. How are you doing this morning? Can you hear us okay? Uh-oh.
He's having audio issues.
All right, let me see if we can get that fixed out real quick. Seems like StreamYard has been really touchy lately. All right, let's see if we can't get that figured out. But we do have some other NAL news to discuss as we try and get him back on here. So let me go ahead and pull up our document real quick. There's quite a bit of roster movement over the past week. Pueblo has released Joe King, Curtis Ravenel, and signed DeWandre Crockett. Omaha signed offensive lineman Tyler Silverstrand. Louisiana released Arthur Jones. And Sioux City released Dalrone Davidson and signed wide receiver Gavin Welch and Ralph Green, a defensive lineman who played with Omaha last year. Any thoughts on any of those moves, Cody or TJ?
I think it's just routine maintenance, people getting cut, people getting signed, trying to just maximize the talent before the season starts.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ralph Green, he's a good D lineman. He's from Indiana. He was a great interior D lineman for them. He had some off the field issues, so he wasn't able to finish his career. He helped Omaha down the stretch. He's a little out of shape, though, so if he shows up out of shape, he won't do much for Sioux City. They signed Gavin Welch. He's a local receiver from Northern Iowa. I don't know why. He hasn't played since 2018. So just Sioux City, filling up the roster, doing what they do. And then the other move you said they released who?
Dalrone Davidson.
Okay, yeah. So 6'6" receiver. He played at Cincinnati. He never really played. He was more of a practice scout team guy. So just a tryout. He tried out and then made the team. So I don't know why.
Gotcha.
I don't understand his move.
All right, it seems like we're having still some issues with
that new linebacker that Southwest signed. He's nice from Furman University. Southwest never had a linebacker, so unfortunately, I mean they had Matthew Miles, who's I'm not going to say what I told them last time, but it's good they finally got a linebacker. They still don't have a running back, so it's and an O line too. You still need to get an O line, but other than that, you're good. You're good.
Well, we're working on it. All right. So now we are joined by Matt Struck. Can you hear us okay now?
Yep, we're all good to go, guys.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your time this morning. I apologize for the issues. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard this morning, but you haven't had an interesting journey, and luckily I've gotten the chance to kind of meet you in person and kind of learn a little bit more about your career. Last season, spent some time in Japan before returning to Southwest Kansas. So ultimately, I wanted to ask, what keeps you coming back to Southwest Kansas year after year? This will be year 3 for you. Kind of get into that for us.
Yeah, I kind of heard you guys mentioning it, the whole idea of it prior to hopping on the call, but really just the stability. I think they have everything dialed in regards to leadership down to day-to-day activities for football. I think that it's one of those in a world with all these leagues across, the globe now, there's so much inconsistencies and there's so many differences that all these places provide. And I think that Southwest Kansas really allows people to just come in, focus on ball, be able to achieve whatever their goal is at hand. And at the same time, you're surrounded by a great support group. The community really supports the team very much. And it's solid. The ownership is solid through and through. So, it's just a place that you definitely want to be.
Definitely makes sense. TJ, do you have any questions?
Yeah, speaking on that, we talk about it all the time. For some of the aspiring players or maybe free agent players out there watching this episode right now, how important is it to find that stability and just be able to focus on football? Because you hear some pretty nasty things from what I call the dark side of the sport.
Yeah. Oh man, that side is very prominent in a lot of these cases. I kind of have been and lucky in a way with Southwest Kansas for what they provide. I mean, I've had a couple opportunities presented to me that I didn't go forward with, that looking back, it's like, oh man, thank goodness. Like that would have been an absolute like dumpster fire. And it's like, yeah, hindsight's 2020. It goes both ways. But I mean, like obviously you want to avoid the bad as much as possible. So I think that being able to rely on that aspect of Southwest Kansas for the duration of the season, it's like, okay, I know that nothing, no funny business is going to happen. Anything that I get out of it is going to be 100% reflected by what I put into it. And I think that's kind of a lost art once you get out of the college realm. And if you're not in one of the 2 or 3 biggest leagues, I mean, there's so much variation day to day.
Great point. Cody, do you have any questions?
I got a couple. First one, we have a running joke around here. How are you going to play football this year without a center?
Yeah, I think that's a hell of a question.
I'm kidding. That's the running joke we have. But my actual question for you is: you went to Missouri State, and then did you go right into arena ball after that, or what was the process of, hey, I'm playing FCS football? Was the NFL even in question? What were your options coming out of college going, hey, I want to further my career? And then did you just get a call saying, hey, check out arena ball? How did you get involved?
Yeah, so I really, like he said at the beginning, extremely interesting journey. So when I was at Missouri State, that was essentially year 6 or 5.5 for me, but that was during the COVID year. And I played there in the spring, all was going good. My mom actually, she's immune compromised from her prior history with breast cancer, and she got COVID and got sick very, very bad. She was in the ICU for about 8 weeks, 7.5 weeks. And I come from a single parent, single child household. So, I mean, that was really a big thing I was sitting there in the middle of summer, like, oh my God, like I'm across the country. I don't know, like if this just doesn't sit right, you know what I mean? Just knowing that she's in a compromised position. So I kind of was like, all right, in my head, which looking back now with all the activity going on in the NCAA, assuming that 5 years was all I got was probably a mistake. I probably should have looked more into waivers or potential ways to keep that Division I clock going. But I was kind of like, hey, I mean, I can go and play in the fall and not have eligibility issues, and I'm right here by the house. So I came to Southern Oregon University, which is a pretty prominent NAI school out here, like 15 minutes from my house, and played there in 21, got hurt, total reconstruction on the throwing shoulder. And that happened twice because I went through rehab for 11 months and then went back in this fall of 2022. And then boom, it happened again. First play of the second drive, I threw a ball and shoulder came out again, destroyed the whole deal. So then went back, did another round of rehab, played in 23, and then I ended up at the FCS Bowl down in Daytona Beach. They kind of knew my contact from when I was at Missouri State. And then I got chosen to go to the FBS Tropical Bowl from the FCS Bowl. And then I kind of had some conversations with some teams. And I mean, Coach Thomas kind of reached out while I was down there, like, hey, if nothing pops, like, hey, we kind of have like a little window here if you want to come and play. And then I kind of explored some other avenues. And then he hit me back. I think it was something crazy, like 6 days before camp started, maybe even less. And was just like, hey, I got one more spot left. Like, do you want to come on out here? And I'm sitting there thinking for January, February, hey, I'm going to get at least something other than arena. And then that didn't end up happening. So Coach Thomas called me, went out there, and it was an experience at first. I mean, it was still kind of an uneven playing field. I wasn't really sure, and they weren't really sure how the league was going to structure everything. And so there was some ups and downs in the very beginning of that AFL reboom, I guess you could say. But then, I mean, yeah, then everything kind of stabled out and we got going, and yeah, the season went good. But yeah, I think the NFL and the CFL, I had some teams come to me when I was at Idaho State and Missouri State and kind of do some measurables and do some private workouts and stuff. Even when I was at SUU, I had a few teams visit. And then at the Tropical Bowl, I had some sit down meetings. And the CFL and the UFLs and obviously the NFLs of the world, they weren't really the biggest fans of the fact that I had total reconstruction on my shoulder twice. That was kind of an odd deal. But again, I mean, not sitting here saying I'm a draft guy that wouldn't have got drafted. I mean, I don't know. It just probably killed what little chance I had to get into a camp. And I had a few people say, like, hey, see if you can do the whole UFL route, see if you can get into a camp with the CFL and just like prove yourself, man. Cause I know that's what you want to do and that's where your mindset's at. And we're still on that journey. Hopefully something pops.
Something tells me this year is your year.
Man, I hope
maybe I'm
so.
just optimistic, but I think the NAL caters to your skill set quite a bit, and it'll be an interesting season, I believe. But Krish, do you have any questions?
Yeah, you went over to Germany recently. Obviously, you had 11 touchdowns in 3 games. Was that Germany experience easy for you? Kind of talk about the level of competition over there.
Yeah, I mean, so something that I learned when I went out there was you have the ELF or whatever that's going to become, and then you have the GFL, and the GFL is broken into 1, 2, 3, all the way down to I think 7. And that was something that I was completely unaware of prior to like my initial call with the coach. And he was like, yeah, we're not in the GFL 1, but like, so I had a couple teams from the GFL 1 hit me earlier in the year. So I thought it was all kind of the same. But so then I went out there and realized the differences in the structure of the programs, because they're all club teams out there in the GFL. So kind of learned the structure of it. And then their whole goal was they brought me out there to try to win 2 out of their last 3 games to remain or go up or whatever it was in the league. So yeah, I went out there and I mean it was an experience to say the least. It was a great time. I think that Europe is amazing. Half my family's from out there, literally an hour and a half away from where I was from. So it was kind of a surreal moment, I guess, to go out there. But the competition, it was good. I mean, football's football at the end of the day, but it was yeah, it was fun. I think that we beat 2 good teams. One team that we played hadn't lost a game in I think 17 games in a row. And then we went out there and we got after him pretty good. But I think the competition was good. I mean, it obviously could be better. I think that the United States obviously holds the pedigree, and all those domestic leagues are probably through and through like the top end talent as well as like roster 1 through whatever. I think it's probably more overall sound. But I mean, obviously, good football players, good athletes, good people.
Very nice, very nice. You've had, like you said, a crazy journey playing in Japan, playing in Germany, playing in small town Kansas.
Man,
it's crazy to kind of hear it, played out like it was. But last season, I wanted to talk about it a little bit. You went to Japan, you took kind of bet on yourself there, and then ultimately returned to Southwest Kansas. But this time as the backup, I wanted to ask you, like, how did you mentally prepare going back where you'd been before? You had left as the starter. You came back. The guy who was starting was balling out. How did you prepare for that? I mean, you ended up, I think, suiting up at wide receiver, playing some special teams and stuff.
yeah.
So, I mean, there had to have been some mental, game there before you came back.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of knew what I was getting into. I figured some football is better than no football, so that kind of played into my decision to go back. But I think that it was really, I don't know, it was really one of those things where you just want to be involved and get the most out of your time, use your time the most productive way you possibly can. But being there, I mean, obviously the goal was to win games, however that looked like for me. And whether this was the proper, the non-proper mindset, I kind of knew that like immediately following that storm season that there was going to be a couple other things entailed for me to where I would leave and go somewhere else. So it was kind of one of those things to where I want to help the team. I get to see all these people that I know and have left a mark on me, but I also get to stay practicing, keep throwing, stay active. So it was just one of those things that it just made sense for the time being. But yeah.
Makes sense. Cody, any more questions?
We got 2. One, to quote Uncle Rico, how far can you throw that football over the mountains?
Pretty far.
Okay, cool. Number 2, with the transition from AF1 to NAL, the rule changes and everything like that, do you think that benefits your play style? Do you think that it's going to help you out more? Like, are you more of a mobile quarterback? Are you going to be able to escape the pocket? What do you think the changes are going from AF1 to NAL?
Yeah, I think it'll be, I don't know, more so not tailored to the specific rule set of the AF1. I think that we'll be able to kind of go out there and really dive more into the schematics of what's possible with the certain amount of players on the field. And yeah, I think that being able to run, that was something that was kind of taken advantage of my first season with Southwest Kansas, was just like being able to take advantage of how many less gaps there are in the indoor game and being able to exploit defenses like that. So I think Coach Thomas will definitely allow us to take advantage of that. And I mean, whatever he really decides the recipe is for how we're going to attack each team each week, that's kind of obviously up to him. But I think that we'll be able to mesh and blend with whatever the rules are, you know.
Sorry about that. Love it. TJ, any more questions?
Yeah, I have one more. Obviously football first, but after that, as a former coach, I know there was always one or two venues in the league that you were kind of excited to go check out when you went there. Is there any venue in the NAL that you're excited to see this upcoming season?
Paris, we have some more audio issues. We'll see if we can get him back one more time, get a couple more questions in, and then send him on his way. Let's see.
He just doesn't want to talk to us.
We're good now. We're good now. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
Man, Cody with the jokes today. All right, TJ, can you repeat your question? I apologize.
Apologies.
Oh, yeah, no problem. Obviously football comes first. It's about winning and losing. But as a former coach, I know secondary, there was always one or two venues that you were kind of excited to go see at away games. Is there any venue that you're looking forward to getting to check out on the road this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Dallas team, I think they probably have one of those situations where, I mean, you have plenty of room for fan support, and I think they have all the resources down there. So I think that should be a fun environment. I think Salina was always a place that was rocking whenever we handed out there. I think their fans are super passionate. So I'd probably say those two. And I mean, I want to play, like, the last 2 times I've been to Salina now with the whole situation last year. I haven't played, man. So I've just been sitting there wanting to get into that environment and get on the field. So I'm looking forward to that.
Absolutely. And Krish, final question for you, man.
Yeah, kind of just touch on your receiving core this year. You got your boy D Wash back, Aaron Dallas, Mason Pierce. Talk about that room overall.
Yeah, I know. I think that's one of Coach Thomas's specialties, man, is just putting together a freaking receiver room that can do anything and everything you need him to do. I think that, I just think that whatever the direction that the offense heads, I think that we have the guys and we'll continue to get the guys that, I mean, just can make any play on the field, and just allowing Coach Thomas to build a unit that I can put ultimate trust in and just dish the ball out, man. Just play point guard. And when you have unlimited weapons like Coach Thomas always seems to provide, I think that makes my job a lot more fun and a lot more easy.
Absolutely. Matt, thank you so much for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. I hope this season turns into everything you need it to be to get you where you want to go. Because I know that, honestly, your talent level belongs a lot higher than arena football. So I hope it brings you everything you need, man.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you all.
Absolutely.
And also mentally, mentally tough. 2 times on his throwing shoulder. He's still going out there. Come on.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been crazy.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time this morning, man. Really appreciate you coming on. Look forward to speaking with you in the future.
Yes, sir. Take care, you guys. Thank you.
Absolutely. And thank you for patience through the issues as well.
It's all good.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your Saturday, man.
You as well.
All right. Once again, that was quarterback 1 for the Southwest Kansas Storm, Matt Struck. Would have looked really good in a Battlehawks jersey considering the regional territory draft. Just saying. Maybe that's a conversation for another day. with Ricky Prohl once I get his email address. But we're going to hit a quick commercial break. We'll come back. We still have a lot to talk about, so much to talk about. In fact, I don't know if we're going to get to all of it. So this might be a split into 2 episodes. We'll see how things go.
And Grant Russell into the end zone, touchdown! Russell has to step up in the pocket, has some room in front of him, gets that 3-step drop, here comes the pressure, passes complete to Flowers, back to pass, pressure coming, has somebody in the end zone, touchdown! Russell, pressure's coming, Russell able to escape, still on his feet, and will be brought down at the looking, has plenty of time, has Flores at the 15, he's at the 10, and Russell has it on the outside, like I said, he ain't taking a slide, Russell steps up, lets one go, Robinson makes the circus catch, with the alert snap, here comes the pressure, and the pass is going to be complete, and making the catch of Grant Russell. Russell, back to pass, looking, he has Robinson makes the catch, and will be brought down on the play by Isaiah Hall.
Man, Krish, one of these days, sir, one of these days, talking all the crap while we're on screen, craziness. All right, but we're going to jump back into the news section of the show. There is so much to talk about this week. We got new teams in the AIF. We got new teams in the TAL. We've got the IAL and whatever the hell they're doing, which we'll get to. There's a lot of it. We still have news from the AF1, all of it. So we're going to start off with the AIF. But before we get into that, we have a little giveaway that we are starting as of this week. If you would like to hold on to a little piece of history, which give me just a moment. A piece of the Sioux Falls Storm turf. We are going to give away a piece of the actual turf the Sioux Falls Storm once played on. And it's very simple to join. No cost to you. If you watch this show, you're already completing one of the steps. So basically what you need to do, you need to go on TikTok. You will find Arena and Indoor Football History. You will find a contest keyword in one of their posts that was posted up very recently. Hint, hint. You will get that keyword. You will come back to Around the Indoor Football World. You will put that in the chat. And also, one last step. You sign up for our Shady Sports Network mailing list on the website. So go to shadysportsnetwork.com. There will be a prompt as soon as you pop up to sign up for the mailing list. Do those 2 things, come back here, give us the keyword, and we will automatically enter you in the drawing. And it's as easy as that. You're entered in the drawing. From there, it's just random. I think we're going to keep this open for a couple months, probably until kickoff of the first major league. We'll discuss the actual closing date at another time, but wanted to get that out there. Shout out to our guy at Arena and Indoor Football History. He is the one that made this all come together. You know, if you are not aware, he's been writing a ton of indoor football related and arena football related articles on our website. So if you like written content, definitely check out shadysportsnetwork.com. And like I said, this is a chance to own a piece of history. We don't even know if the Sioux Falls Storm will ever come back. And if they do, which we all are hoping they do, I mean, that's a legendary franchise. You know, this could have been Wichita Regulators turf or something of that sort, but it's the Storm. So, do your best, join the draw or the drawing, and here in the next couple weeks we'll announce a winner, and you get to hold on to a little piece of indoor football history, which I personally think is super cool. So once again, shout out to Arena Indoor Football History. Go check him out on TikTok, get that keyword, sign up for our mailing list at shadysportsnetwork.com, and then come back here, drop the keyword in the chat. You can do that right now if you would like, or we can catch you next week when we're live. The catch is you have to drop the keyword while we are live. That is the catch. So make sure you're catching the show live. But with all that out of the way, now that we're aware of all that, there is a new team announced in the American Indoor Football League for the 2026 season, which I don't know about you guys, seems a little odd. They already announced the schedule, but the Midland Frack Attack have been announced as the newest team for the AIF. They will compete on an independent schedule in 2026, very similar to, is it the Tyler Crude, Krish? Odessa Drillers. I apologize. So the Odessa Drillers are also playing an independent schedule. I would imagine that's where some of their games will come. So there's apparently another additional AIF franchise to be announced next week to join this apparent independent division in the South. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Let's go to TJ first.
Definitely an interesting name. But I don't know. Normally when you mix independent, I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I think for the AIF it works. They're still trying, in my opinion, to really get a solid foundation down, and I think this is the best course of action for them to go.
I don't know what's going on with the comments, guys, so I apologize that they're hiding our faces every time we pull them up. Normally it moves the camera. I'm not really sure what's going on there, but Wookie Drive says 2 teams in the same metro, just make them their own conference. And it does kind of sound like they're having an independent conference because there is one other team they say is set to be announced. So I imagine that's going to be in the Texas area as well. Cody, any thoughts on this?
I mean, I kind of agree with Wookie Drives on that. I mean, if you're going to be independent, you can play your independent schedule, but they're saying they're announced for 2026. Just move them to 2027 and say they're going to be a full member. Like, the rollout announcement just kind of sounds wonky to me. It's like, hey, prove your worth, and then you can join our league, I guess. I don't know.
It is an interesting course of action. I guess that's one way to establish expansion teams without having them negatively impact the league schedule, I guess. So it's kind of an interesting approach. But Krish, what are your thoughts on that and the approach in how they're announcing these expansion teams?
I just think it's funny. You're announcing a team that's going to kick off in 2 months, a month and a half. Like, it's ridiculous. Where are you going to get players? It's going to be like a semi-pro team. They're just going to sign a bunch of local talent, and talent, but like local guys. But I mean, it's what it is. I mean, the AIF is kind of a league of BS to me. I mean, at this point, right? Like, they announced the Austin Falcons. They hyped that up, and then Austin. I read something like they're leaving. I don't even know. I can't even keep track anymore. Like, I don't even know. It's too much for me to keep track of. I agree with the comment, Wookie's comment. Like, they should make a conference and just play each other like 5 times.
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate goal for these announcements because, like I said, there's another team coming per this announcement. I would imagine it's probably in Texas as well. We've heard a couple other teams floated out there from Texas over the past couple months, so it wouldn't surprise me to see that at all. But shifting over to the Arena League, we've got quite a bit of information coming out from them as well this week. The big information that came out over the past couple days was the logo was leaked for the Memphis Hound Dogs, which I think is great. Give me just a second and we'll pull that up. But the other topics that we were going to discuss is the GMs were named for Louisiana and Nebraska, and both of these guys have some pretty extensive alternative football experience. So we got Doug Parrish named the GM of Louisiana. Parrish was most recently the director of sponsorships for the Birmingham Stallions in the UFL. Matthew Coward, I hope I pronounced that correctly, was named the GM of Grand Island. He was previously involved in the launching of the Duke City Gladiators and was a part of that franchise for a couple of years. So both these guys, great hires. But why don't we go around the horn and starting with Krish? What are your guys' thoughts on the GM hires? And I'll get the logo pulled up here in a second.
I was excited when I saw Doug Parrish would be announced. He has the background with Birmingham Stallions, like you said, until he put in his statement that the COFL, the Continental Football League, is considered moving up from the TAL, right? He said it was his goal. He said NFL, CFL, UFL, and then he added the Continental Football League. I completely lost any, I'm like, what? The COFL? They haven't even played a game. So why are you saying that's, a jump? So that's crazy to me. So he must sleep in bed with those guys. But the Duke City GM going to Nebraska, I hope he has, connections to that area because it's hard, man. Nebraska, you got the beef. You got Omaha right down the road, right? So, I don't know.
They have gangs.
Absolutely, right? So there's so many things to worry about in Omaha.
Oh, Lord. Not the gang talk again. Here we go. Disclaimer. This is a joke. For anybody watching, that's a joke. These are the jokes. But for the record, he does have some ties to Grand Island, Nebraska. I guess he's been out there for a little over a year at this point. He lives in the area, if I got everything from his LinkedIn correctly. So I've been doing some research there. We're working on getting him on. I'm also going to reach out to Doug Parrish as well. So we're trying to work through all these leagues and get some guests from all the different leagues on to come talk about them. So, expect to see him at some point on here. Cody, what are your thoughts?
It's definitely adding some credibility. You've got two guys that have been GMs or within the front office situations of different teams, different leagues, things along those lines. So bringing that over definitely bears credence to what the TAL is doing. I like what they're kind of doing with it. They have slowly and steadily been growing. I'm really curious to see how these teams pan out. I know that there have been issues with prior teams in the TAL, but if you can prove that Grand Island, and they've always had a good following from the Danger and everything out there. Louisiana is the one in Monroe, right? Yeah. Okay. If you can get those two teams well established, you have a very, very good threshold within this Great Plains area of the United States.
Okay, this is an awesome comment. I am so glad that he dropped this. Grand Island is a completely different market. The Danger were very successful in the IFL, even while other teams are playing in the state. I know Matt personally. They will be an exceptional organization top to bottom. That's awesome to hear. That is awesome to hear. So obviously Ricky probably has direct connection with Matthew from his time with Duke City back in the day, when they were part of the CIF. So I if Ricky is vouching for the guy, I have the tendency to lean toward believing his 2 cents on the matter. TJ, what are your thoughts on the two GM hires?
It pretty much goes in line with what the league's been doing, and that is bring in people of high profile, not just name wise, but also resume wise. They've both been champions in their own rights. They've, for Douglas Parrish, Grey Cup, time with the New York Jets, everything else. Matt, founder and part of the back-to-back championships that Duke City had. So they know how to build teams. They know how to win championships. They just know how to do everything from a championship mindset. And that's really what the league is trying to do. Again, just surround themselves with the right people, not just a flash name, but the resume to back it up. So I love it. I love both those moves.
Absolutely. And I love your point. Both of these guys know how to win, and especially Doug Parrish. He won a Grey Cup in the CFL. He won multiple UFL championships or UFL championships before moving on to indoor ball. So I think that's a really inspiring hire. Ricky, I've actually already talked to Matt. Our timing in the morning doesn't work for him, so we might pre-record something with him, but we're working to set that up already. He's been very communicative, seems like a great guy. I got nothing but good things to say about him so far, and we will definitely have some sort of content with him on. But
I want to see what these teams hire for head coaches. I've been saying that, but
yeah,
I hope my boy Mike Tatum gets with the Grand Island team. So
that to me seems like such a good hire personally.
Coach Reyes.
Coach Rez, I just got on here. What team is this? So there's multiple teams, Coach. There's the Memphis Hound Dogs, which we're showing the logo for now. This was just released, I think, yesterday. Great branding as per usual with the TAL, in my opinion. But they also have, this is a great hashtag as well, release the hounds. Love it. But so basically they have the Memphis Hound Dogs, they have the Grand Island Siege in Nebraska, and then they have the Monroe team, which I don't believe has announced a team yet, or a team name yet. So to my knowledge, none of those teams have coaches yet. So Coach Rez, if you're looking for another position, I would reach out to Tommy Benizio. I know he is very integral in the hiring of the TAL team. So just saying, probably a good opportunity to pick up an HC job there if you're looking. So let's go down the horn real quick. Just give your brief thoughts on the logo, and then we'll go ahead and move on. There isn't really much to break down here. I mean, other than the fact this is freaking awesome. But let's go to Cody first. I have a feeling you've got some fun things to say.
I absolutely, excuse me, my goodness, I apologize. I absolutely love this logo. I do. The colors, like blue tick hound dogs, Elvis. He's got the Elvis jacket on. It, the guitar pick for Tennessee music, everything like that. The 3 stars for the state of Tennessee. It is immaculate. I love this logo. I'm curious to see how the burnt orange and the blue are going to mesh when it comes to uniforms and things, but it is just chef's kiss. It is beautiful.
I love it. I love it too. Well, my agent, Ben McToy, should be busy. I'm sure he is already in the works of that. So, Krish, what are your thoughts on this logo?
I love it, man. I love Elvis Presley. He's a legend down there. So, I mean, he's a legend in the U.S., so I watched that movie. I think it's great. I'm going to get a shirt for this team. I'm really excited. It's really exciting. I love that logo. I can't wait to see who they hire. And I think a lot of big time players are from Memphis. There's a ton of talent in Memphis, so they could really stack that team up with some good players.
Yes, they could. And I really like this too. The dog wearing Elvis Pharaoh suit is a tip of the cap to the Memphis Pharaohs. The details. That's awesome. I wasn't even aware of that. So there's so many factors on this logo that are just so awesome. Krish, you're too young to know one Elvis song. I bet you anything, Ben, he knows Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog after watching the intro video to the team. So he knows at least one. Just saying. TJ, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with everybody else, man. I love this logo. It's really awesome. It hits on everything location-wise, history-wise. I mean, even a tip of the cap to a former football team. So it's just awesome. Honestly, I may become a Memphis Hound Dogs fan this season because, I was kind of depressed. I understood it, but I was depressed when they changed the Wise Guys with the BoJack Horseman, look to it. I was kind of like, but diamonds are awesome, but this has the fun factor to it. So I think I might be on the same on the same spot as Krish. I might be getting a shirt or a jersey for this season. That's really killer logo. I hope the jerseys, turn out great too.
Yeah, I agree. I actually think the burnt orange and the light blue is going to look great. But again, Cody's right. It's all about how it's arranged on the jersey and how they do the color scheme. So it's going to be very interesting. But off the wall, homework assignment for Krish. Listen to Elvis Presley's greatest hits and come back next week with a top 5. I encourage this. Goat's year, Ben McToy says, although he is the agent for Coach Rez, so that answer could change quick if he gets hired. If they don't wear blue suede shoes, they missed an opportunity. Man, I hope the TAL is watching for this comment right here. They have to wear blue cleats. Have to. But yeah, anyway, moving on from the TAL, I mean, obviously we seem to be big fans of everything they're doing right now. They seem like they're set up for stability for the long term, and that's really what it's all about, right? We want these teams to be successful long term, and I think right now the TAL has set themselves up for long term sustained success. so far, even though with the issues with Eau Claire last year. One thing I did want to address, we had a fan reach out this week to me personally, expressing concerns over the fact that Eau Claire was trying to sell off their old turf. To my understanding, and this is from somebody in the league, okay? My understanding is that that is the old group selling off the old turf. The new group, ownership-wise, that has come in plans to buy their own turf. That's what I've been told from the league. I have not confirmed that with anybody in town, but I trust the person who told me. So I'm willing to pass that along to you guys as well. Dorsey Golston, head coach of the Goats, checking in. Thank you for being here this morning. Okay, so let's shift one more time. We're going to jump over to the AAL again. There's some news to talk about. Obviously, we discussed Coach Rez is in the chat. He has announced his resignation from the Wheeling Miners this past week. So he is now a free agent once again. Wheeling is back in the market for a new head coach. And then also Tom Manas has suffered an eye injury. I think we discussed this a little bit last week, if I remember correctly. He will not be able to coach in the 2026 season for the Michigan Avengers, which he had previously signed up for, which is terribly unfortunate. But at the same time, he's got to worry about his health first. Obviously, as mentioned, it's an eye injury. That's not something to be played around with. So, we wish Coach nothing but the best. But I wanted to go ahead and go around the horn real quick, discuss the leaving of Resignaldo, and discuss what you guys see next for Wheeling, if you have any ideas about who could be the next coach there. Let's talk to Krish first. Krish, who do you think might end up stepping in there for Coach Rez?
I think my boy Coach B, honestly. Coach B's been vocal about the opportunity with them, and, he might be last minute. I feel like, maybe that's an opportunity for him to get in with Wheeling. But it's hard, man. I mean, you're kind of you're running out of time with candidates. I mean, the season starts so soon. You need to get someone in there. I mean, Coach Reyes did more than just a coach, right? He built that organization from the ground up. So, I mean, you need to find someone quick, and you're running out of time. So I'm interested to see who they end up hiring for Wheeling. As far as Coach Manas, man, I mean, I wish him the best. That's my guy, right? Like, you hate to see that. I never thought it was a good fit, though, on a personal side for him to join an AAL2 team. Like, all respect to them, but just because he lived in the area, the lack of resources, I never thought it was going to work out for them. So I think this is season he can just rest, relax, and come back better in 2027. So, yeah.
Fair point. Cody, thoughts?
Not much of any. I mean, coaches come and go. Coaches step down for medical reasons, and I'm not putting words in Coach Rez's mouth or anything, but coaches step down. Coaches get let go. There's plenty of reasons that, probably behind the scenes that we know or don't know, whatever the case could be. So I don't really have an opinion either way. The big wheel keeps on going. We'll see if the teams last. If they don't, that's how it goes. So that's what happens.
Oh, you asked me where Coach Rez, I thought he was going to go, right? So, so Coach Rez, I mean, I think he might end up in the NAL. I think he's going to end up with new teams in TAL, but I think he'll end on an NAL staff. And if I have to say what team, this is hard. I'm gonna throw out one. I think he might end up with Sioux City. So
interesting. Be an interesting pick. I'm going to go ahead and defer to him. I'm not sure that I think it's a little early for us to be picking a location where he might land. But TJ, what are your thoughts about the Wheeling situation, and who do you think might land as the head coach? Any local candidates you know about? TJ Bartholomew, perhaps?
Yeah, that's a couple states over still. Honestly, it kind of makes it's unfortunate, but it kind of makes you wonder, what was going on, because he was there once, then he came back, now he stepped down again. And so, I don't really know. It's kind of like up in the air. It's literally a big question mark as we kind of all watch and see what's going on. Like, is it just something, internal with that, or is it something bigger? Who knows? In terms of coaching candidates, hey, you know what? Mike Tomlin's available. Maybe he can finally get a playoff victory this millennium. Who knows?
He's right in their backyard too. There you go. I love it. I love it. And I guess it's a little late for him to grab Dylan Raiola in the portal, but maybe there's a couple other candidates out there.
Oh, the Pennsylvania team. So, okay, the Pennsylvania team, I was going to say for the International Arena League, right? He lives or whatever, but they already have a coach. So, multiple sources tell me that. Actually, I'll wait till we get to the International Arena League part. But no, I think Coach Reg, you know what? I thought of this. The NAL, Amarillo, right? Remember what I said a couple weeks ago about how, the coach might be, Coach Spank or whatever, might be gone for a couple games. Maybe he could come in and fill in. Or Pueblo. Pueblo, I mean, maybe he could go there, right? So there's multiple opportunities for him to kind of sneak in the NAL as an assistant coach or as a consultant or anything. So,
yeah, I could see that for sure. When I come back in October, I never had an executed contract. It's a shame, but that's all I'll say. Good luck to them. I mean, that's fair. I mean, that's obviously a concern. Obviously, if you don't have anything on paper, it's a little hard to pursue any sort of missed payments or anything. So that's always a concern for sure. So Ben says, Reg just gave me more homework with stepping down. Absolutely. Got to keep you busy, right? You don't have enough jobs. Jarmon Fortson has been signed by the Columbus Lions as well in the AAL. So another stout player there on the defense for Columbus. They seem to be.
He's awesome. He's I've been watching him since I started watching indoor football. He's been playing for I think his 14th season. He's from Florida State. Great receiver. He's won championships. I'm glad they were able to keep him in Columbus.
Absolutely. So we're going to hit a quick commercial break. We're going to come back. We'll talk about the IFL, the AF1, and then finally finish up with the IAL. We're kind of saving that for last because there's a lot to talk about. And to be completely honest, I'm not sure how much time we're going to spend on it. We are in this episode only going to discuss the U.S. teams. I need to do a little bit more homework before we discuss the European teams. So probably do a little bit more information on them next week with the European team. So, make sure you're tuning in next week as well. Here's a question for you specifically, Krish, before we go to break. Just absorb it, ponder it, and give him his answer when we come back. But has your opinion changed on Amarillo and Oceanside? So just put a pin in that. We'll be right back after a commercial break, and we will discuss all the AF1, IFL, and IAL topics left to come.
How many times a week? Three, four times, maybe.
I'm gonna pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
I'm just being myself, cool as can be. When I'm being myself, you wish you were me. It's so easy. Get out your own way. It's just so easy.
I don't know about you guys, but I'm about to go get some donuts and chocolate milk after this one because that dude looks like he's having a great time. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and shift over to the IFL and the AF1, and we're going to try and fly through this a little quick. There isn't a ton of really big news coming out of the IFL, just more transaction stuff. Same thing with the AF1. And we have a little bit of insight from TJ on the IAL and one of the prospective guys joining the league. So I would like to get to that at some point as well. before 10:30. So forgive us as we kind of breeze through the IFL and AF1 stuff today. Again, it's mainly transactional, so there isn't really a ton of big news to break down here. But let's go ahead and roll through this pretty quick. The big move to me this week was San Antonio signs Dante Santos. Krish, you can go ahead and fill us in. I know you're a big Dante Santos fan. He was previously signed with Dallas. What are your thoughts on this move?
Huge loss for Dallas, man. I mean, he was a contender for Rookie of the Year for me in Dallas. I mean, I think he's a great player. Now he gets to go to San Antonio, sit behind Joe Corncolazzo, learn the game, from a veteran receiver like Glenn Gibbons. I think it's a good fit. I see why he made the move. Definitely see why he made the move.
Absolutely. Another big signing this week was Tavion Thomas, who joined Tucson. Cody, what are your thoughts on that move?
I mean, Tucson's filling out the roster compared to what they've done in the last couple of seasons, so it's going to be a nice little get in the running back, especially losing Devontae Sapp Lynch, and I'm blanking on the other guy, Jameis Williams. So it's going to be a nice get for them as they continue to do. The question is going to be for Tucson is the quarterback position. So if they can fill that out or whoever they're going to go with, it'll be a nice one there. But overall, I do like it. He was with Massachusetts. I don't think he got into a game, but I know he was on the roster. I don't think he actually suited up. But it's a really nice get.
Absolutely. He did suit up. He had 7 touchdowns in 2 games.
Did he really?
Yeah.
How did I miss that?
Yeah, it was brief though. But no, I mean, I love Tavion, man. That's my dog.
Was that last year or 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Okay, I was thinking just last year. So that's what confused me. So
24, yeah.
I got you.
I think Tavion is great. We talk on Instagram here and there. He DM'd me last night, but he's a great guy, man. I mean, he's someone deep down inside. He needs a new fresh start. So he's gonna do great things in Tucson. I'm excited for him. Sure.
Yeah, that's my bad. I completely thought I was just looking back on last season. I completed 2 seasons ago. That's my stupidity.
You're good, man. You can't remember everything. Come on now. Krish, that'd be a great guest for the show. You should see if you would want to come on. Drew Dixon RTRs. TJ, do you have any thoughts on that and what might have caused it?
I honestly do not.
That's
Sorry
fair
about that.
No, that's fair. I mean, there isn't, we don't know the guy personally. There isn't much to unpack here. So I'll come to you with this. Bless Harris and Trevon Jones were drafted by Columbus. And Little Birdie told me there might be another player from Vegas signing a contract with the UFL over the next couple of days. What are your thoughts on those moves?
Hey, man, it sucks that Vegas is losing them as a fan of that team. But, hey, man, it's the IFL and, Vegas, a lot of players from Vegas, if I do say so myself, are getting a lot of calls and looks at higher up leagues. And it's exactly what it's about. It's guys get the opportunity, they ball out, and then they get opportunities outdoors in the bigger leagues that, let's just be frank, that can fund a yearly salary to play football. It's exactly what they're doing. And in my opinion, it's what's helping strengthen the IFL as, obviously the NFL of the indoor and arena space.
Absolutely. And just to TJ's credit, for anybody who's not aware, if you make it in the UFL or the CFL, you're talking, tens of thousands of dollars a season, not maybe $10,000 a season. So not saying that arena football is a bad opportunity. We're all here because we love it. But at the same time, there's a reason why everybody's moving up. Financially, it just makes sense. So the next big topic this week, and this one we'll go around the horn with, Rod Miller is hired as the new DC for the Vegas Nighthawks, and Kenny Mack has been signed as the offensive line coach for Vegas, replacing obviously Kyle Moore Brown, who is the new head coach for New Mexico. Rod Miller, as we discussed last week, was previously with San Antonio, was replaced by Malcolm Goins, previously with Bay Area. So a lot of movement all of a sudden right there in the coaching ranks for San Antonio and Vegas. But let's go back to TJ on this one. What are your thoughts on the coaching changes for Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, it's just general, they left for other opportunities, head coaching jobs, things like that. So you went out, you got other good names, guys with good track records, and just looking kind of like the same thing with the overall rosters. You're just locking, reloading, and trying to put yourself in the best position for this upcoming season. If you're Vegas, you're going for back to back.
Absolutely. A little sliver of information here that I was given this week as well is that Miller will be coaching a position as well. I believe it's defensive backs. And then Mike Davis himself will be overseeing defensive line once again. Anybody who's not aware, Davis has coached defensive line multiple times throughout his career, including in the CFL. So not entirely out of the question or surprising to see him take over defensive line. Cody, what are your thoughts on the changes for Vegas?
Reload. Simple as that. You get such an experienced defensive coordinator in Rod Miller, who's been all around the indoor football league from Bismarck to Mass to San Diego to anywhere and everywhere. Like, name a place he hasn't been. It's what can you say? I mean, what can you say? They're keeping up with the Joneses over there in Arizona and the Western Conference and stuff like that. So they're trying to take that top spot, man. And I can clearly see the vision that they got. I mean, it's championship or bust again. They've already got a taste of the silverware. They want another taste of it. This is that opportunity.
Absolutely. And on that note, I said this, so please do not project this comment on Mike Davis, but I told him it looks like his path to the championship this year might be a little bit easier. And he said, we don't look at it like that. We're preparing, for the worst from every team. So we're expecting to have a target on our backs this season. So I think Vegas is very prepared to defend that crown this season. And they've built the roster and the staff to do so. Krish, what are your thoughts on this move?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great move. You know how I feel about Rob Miller, Coach Miller. I mean, he was with us, right? His defensive back, that's his thing. He's a great defensive back coach. Now, with them losing Trayvon Jones, they only have one veteran defensive back in Clifton Duck. So all the rest are rookies, right? So you need someone to kind of help develop those younger DBs that they got in. So that's a huge move for them. And then, just that collaboration, right? And it speaks to relationships. Right, Coach Miller was with Vegas in 2023, right? So he was their defense coordinator in 2023. So you keep relationships with people. Now you never know when you might need someone or when they can reunite. And so I think that speaks a lot to Coach Davis and his character, for sure.
Agreed. And in the coaching world, connections are everything. So I think this was.
And as far as Kenny Mack hiring, I mean, obviously, Kenny Mack, like that O-line room they have is great. So just finding a local guy who can kind of work with that O-line, I think it's good they went with local for that. I think it's important. Sometimes, on the coaching staff, you want to have that local flavor. So it's a good move.
Absolutely. That might be a guy you can keep around for multiple years because he is local. So I like that move a lot.
It's like your boy, the linebacker coach, right? Rick, what's his name? Linebacker coach, Esposito.
I was going to say Esposito. A smart way to build a staff. You get more hands on deck, more individual attention to the players, more development, more moving up. It makes perfect sense to me. So the last piece of information for the IFL, I'm going to let Cody take the reins on this one because he was the one who saw this, but some of the IFL game times have been revealed on the schedule this week. And correct me if I'm wrong. It was all the times for NAS and week 1, but only NAS. Was that correct?
Yeah. It's weird. So week 1, I posted it on my Twitter /X or whatever. So the very first game I think is kicking off at 8 p.m. between Quad City and Fishers. And then I think it's a 5 o'clock Central Time between the rematch between Vegas and Green Bay. Now, we're still working out details and stuff like that with FanDuel Sports Network, or they are, not we. I'm not part of it. But whether or not those are finalized, I don't know. To kind of just put those on the schedule seems kind of weird and like kind of oddly specific times, but you want those times for Yahoo Sports, FanDuel Sports Network, because those are probably going to be those primetime games. And then just kind of scrolling through, because I was like, okay, well, they've got that for week 1. What do we have? And I saw it was either week 2 or week 3. Northern Arizona's got their time set. I was like, okay. And then you go to week 3, week 4. It's the Northern Arizona games, whether it's 8 p.m., 1 p.m. I don't know if those are accurate. So take all of that with a grain of salt. It might have been leaked. I do not know. They might have more times in there. I haven't checked today, but it was just kind of weird because I kind of peruse there every, once a week, twice a week going like, do they have times yet? When can I plan these road trips to go living here in Kansas, go down to Tulsa, go to the Quad Cities and stuff like that. So I'm like trying to figure out times, and I just see that and I'm going, okay, cool. So I don't know. Hopefully the times will get released. I'm pretty sure, yeah, like what Trey just mentioned, that something's coming down the pike. I think Green Bay, the owners said that the times will be released sometime in a couple days or something. I can't remember the date that they said it was going to be, or maybe I'm misremembering that it was supposed to be back in December and it was never released or something. It's hard to keep all this stuff straight. So needless to say, yeah, something's brewing.
Absolutely. A couple comments we didn't get to earlier I wanted to run through real quick. Brian Shoemaker, I have often thought about a documentary covering a behind the scenes of a player and agent interactions leading up to being signed with the team, negotiations, film review, tryouts, camp, etc. I think that would be extremely popular, almost like a Hard Knocks type of thing for arena football. Kevin O'Hanlon, our guest this morning, agrees. Great idea, Brian. I believe that would certainly create better understandings of player struggles and insight of the leagues and how they operate. So just a comment I wanted to get there. If you haven't done so already, make sure you're hitting the like button. As of right now, my counter only says 6 likes and there's 70 people watching. So I feel like we should have 75 likes any minute. So start clicking that button, please. Really appreciate everybody who's watching, by the way. But we're going to transition over to the AF1. The big news out of AF1 this past week is, like I said, a lot of transaction stuff. But primarily, Meadow Lemon was hired as the GM for the Minnesota team, Minnesota Monsters. Meadow Lemon, for anybody who's not aware, has been involved with the AFL in the past. He's actually the son of Meadowlark Lemon, who was involved with the Harlem Globetrotters, if I remember correctly. So interesting hiring there from Minnesota, and somebody who makes a lot of sense. So. Also, Oceanside signs 4 more players, and they appear to have an entirely local roster, not a single player from out of state. And we'll get to that in just a sec. And then Michigan also signed another quarterback, Nick Kargaman. So interested to see what he can do there out in Michigan. But I want to talk a little bit about Oceanside. TJ, you're a former NAL coach. You obviously observe the game quite a bit differently than some of the rest of us. Have you ever seen a team at the professional level be completely built off local players?
I've seen it heavily. That's what the Steelhawks used to do here in the Lehigh Valley. Even as, majority of my time with them here as maybe just being a fan in the stands, it's like I knew a lot of the guys. They worked in the area, everything else. But they still brought in, I'll say a couple splash players or a couple bigger players. I've never seen personally a team that is 100% local. I mean, no offense to them, but number one, unless you're a team in the South, like it's probably not the best strategy. That's only because in the South you got players everywhere that can probably play, but up more towards the upper half of the states, it's an interesting theory. I mean, I hate to say it, but it definitely helps cut down on housing costs, which may be why they did it. But I mean, I had some high hopes on this team. I thought they were going to do pretty good, but with a 100% local roster, it may be a tough season for them. I'm not going to lie.
It will be interesting to see. I have noticed that there's quite a few guys with San Diego Strike Force ties. So I think they kind of dipped into some of the local guys that San Diego had around. So that's encouraging, at least. Rudy Johnson's one of them. I'm blanking a couple names. I know one of the offensive linemen they signed was also from San Diego as well. But Cody, what are your thoughts on an all local roster for Oceanside?
I'll say the comment that Brian has, because I'll kind of push back on what TJ said. I think if there is a state or a couple of states that you can do, California is definitely going to be one of them, just based on size and population alone. Now, how local is local? We're talking Oceanside, around LA, San Diego, within that area. So that is a good cradle of like recruits. You're not going up to like Northern California past the Bay Area and stuff like that. And I'm not saying Bay Area, but like Northern California by Oregon and stuff, like probably nothing too much out there when it comes to talent. So I think that area is rich with players. The question is, can they get there in traffic? I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. But I do think that the talent being local can help, because that also has fans sit there and say, hey, this guy's local. This guy either played in this area or has played with the strike force or done something. So they have ties. It can help. I'm still not sold on Oceanside as a whole, but how they're kind of going about it, it's all right. So I'd still wait with bated breath.
Yeah, to me, it's very similar to how Louisiana has kind of made a step-up process as they're kind of trying to build toward being a more stable team. You know, this is a good way to cut costs in year one, as TJ mentioned, but then also have a lot of fan interaction with players that they like TJ said, they know, you know, they might know them from working around town, or they might be friends, brothers, family, whatever. It's going to be a lot easier to travel to those games if all of those players are local. All of them are bringing family, friends, all of that to the game. So there is that to be said about this approach. You know, the UFL is currently trying to do that on a larger scale. So I do like that thought process, but we'll see how it pans out. Krish, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so one of the players they signed is Javon Tucker. He was a receiver for us last year here in Mass. You know, nice guy. I mean, I don't think he really can run routes too well. The indoor game seems kind of too fast for him, but I think it's interesting him going to arena style. It's even faster, right? So that's going to be a unique change for him. He's coming off of a hand injury as well. He lives in the Oceanside area. So obviously, like you said, all local. I don't see that team doing much. I look at their O-line, D-line, they're weak up front completely. I mean, the quarterback room is I think Rudy Johnson will get killed playing arena style. I really do. So he can't really throw the football that well. I've watched him play. So if they play, they'll go 0-10. They're still not even on the arena's website. So that's a whole different topic and conversation. So I'm not sold on Oceanside at all. I think they'll go 0-10 for sure if they play.
I don't know about 0-10. I feel like sometimes it's pretty hard to go winless, but at the same time, we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot left to be said.
Not as hard as you think.
What's that?
Not as hard as you think, man. I was part of a winless season.
I'll take your word for it on that one. I wanted to address this comment. Dallas will probably be mostly homegrown. Stop it. Yeah, that's probably true to save on cost as well. Honestly, I was kind of hoping to see Pueblo be a little bit more homegrown with you guys having CSU Pueblo right there in your backyard. But you've signed a couple Colorado players that I was excited to see. Dallas Reigns is one of them. So big time there on the schedule.
Nah, Dallas Reigns, they don't have that level of O lineman in Pueblo. He's going to Colorado Spartans.
My mistake. You're right. Yeah. He did sign with Colorado.
I
lied. I know there is a couple Colorado players on Pueblo. I'm blanking exactly who it is at the moment. I was thinking Dallas, but that's because that's one of the names I recommended today, and apparently he ended up in Colorado anyway. But that's all right. So we're going to transition, hit one more commercial break, and then we'll come right back with IAL, and we'll discuss that. Like I said, there's quite a bit to talk about with that league, so we'll unpack all of that and then wrap up this bad boy.
How many times a week? Like three, four times maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers.
know I ask you guys for a lot. Still haven't seen the 75 likes yet. Let's get it up there. But also this QR code in the corner, that is our second channel for all the live sports action that we have coming out on Shady Sports Network. So if you have not done that, hop over there, click the subscribe button for us and help us continue to grow. But with that being said, Off the Wall has a quick comment on the IFL. There's going to be some IFL news that'll shock some people coming soon. Interesting. Excited to hear what that might be. But we're going to go ahead and transition over to the IAL. And as I mentioned before, there is a lot to talk about. So I'm just going to run through some rule stuff, some stuff that we heard about the league itself. We'll do a reaction on that real quick, and then we'll move down the teams and kind of discuss some more individual team stuff. So the first thing I want to discuss is that multiple coaches have alluded to the fact that they expect to have rebound nets and traditional arena-style play. In two of the different press conferences that were done yesterday or a couple days now, they had mentioned the IFL teams that they were competing with in these markets. I believe it was the Vegas press conference and the Arizona press conference, and both of those coaches mentioned the difference in rules and alluded to the fact that it was going to be traditional arena rules. Now, a big thing that they had also mentioned is that they believe there's going to be two conferences, U.S. teams and overseas teams. And they're looking at playing 2 games overseas and then 2 games over here. So if teams come from Europe over to America, they're going to play 2 games, stay for about 8 to 10 days, then travel back overseas, and vice versa with the American teams going overseas. There is also going to be a 5-week play-in tournament in which the championship team will take and split $2 million amongst the team. So that is the general gist of the league information we have gotten so far. Oh, and also roster size should be around 30 players. This is a good question, Triple McGee. I did not hear anything about Iron Man. I would guess that's probably not going to be a factor, especially if you're talking 30-man rosters. I just think that a lot of leagues are understanding that's a very dangerous rule set at this point. A lot more frequency of injury. So that's something to keep in mind. But okay, let's go around the horn, kind of discuss the rule set, and then we'll let Krish do his breaking news before we move into the team dedicated stuff. But it looks like we also have a surprise guest for the IAL segment. Coach Davis is here. How's it going, Coach?
What's up, guys? How are you?
Doing pretty well. It's interesting you decided to show up. I hear you were at the Vegas press conference.
Yeah, I was. I obviously you have a team come in your city. You want to just check it out, and it was interesting to say the least. But I kind of want to hear y'all's comments on it, and then I'll intervene when I see fit.
Oh Lord, this could get dangerous. All right, so let's go to Krish let's go to Cody first. Cody, what are your thoughts on the league rules so far? All the information that we have as of right now.
Going through college, there was something that has stuck with me, and it is: are you wanting to change for the sake of getting better, or are you just changing to change? So having a 5-week play-in tournament, teams overseas, with only a 30-man roster, I don't know if that's changed to get better. I think they're just trying to throw things at the wall to see if there's some gimmick or something that's, hey, let's see. And they could be wanting to expand the arena and indoor scene overseas, and that's perfectly fine. But like I've said in the private chat, if this season goes off without a hitch, great. If the second season goes off without a hitch, great. I just do not see it. I just do not see it. We've seen so many fly-by-nights, and I'm not calling them this by any means yet, but we've seen so many fly-by-night things with this just to go off. The AFL was saying that they wanted teams in Mexico with Lee Hutton and whoever, that they wanted teams overseas to build their own dedicated indoor football arenas and stuff like that. I have a hard time seeing this. I do. Can they play the games in the U.S. and overseas? Great. Are they going to try and combine it? I don't know. You already have a dedicated European league. You already have 3 dedicated, 4, 5, 6 dedicated indoor and arena leagues. I do not know how this works. I don't.
I do want to say something. You just mentioned that there are multiple European leagues, which is correct at this point, but there is currently a market opening. The ELF and the EFA have been trying to work out some form of fashion of a league, and they have kind of fallen apart. So as of right now, there's some speculation that perhaps the ELF and the teams that were involved will shift over to another league, or some could potentially go dormant for a year. So I think that's probably why we see them trying to rush this to 2026 and not pushing it out to 2027. They think there might be some market availability there. But that is, I mean, rushing things is never a good idea. But
I don't see it. The freaking Olympics had years to get their hockey arenas ready out there, and they're not done. I do not have any faith in this right now, and they can prove me wrong. I'll gladly eat crow. I just do not see it. And the fact that all the U.S. teams are based Utah, Arizona, Las Vegas, fine. But then you have two on the eastern side. Like, that's not super regional. You're going to have flights all throughout the U.S., flights all throughout Europe, and then you're asking them to fly cross continents. I do not see it.
That's fair. Texas Pete, there is not, to my knowledge, a European arena league. It's all outdoor football, to my knowledge. All outdoor 11-man football, traditional American football rules. TJ, what are your thoughts on this league?
Oh man, I keep going back and forth with it because it sounds like a really cool concept, but I don't know. I like the fact that they're trying to double dip essentially the long distance travel from, US to overseas and vice versa, fit two games in at once, but I just can't get over the overall cost of things. You have teams that can't that struggle to pay for buses to go 4 or 5 states over. You're going to pay for plane tickets to go from, the US to, over to Europe. I mean, I I would really love to see this happen. I mean, it's been attempted in the past. The AFL did their whole China effort thing. I think China still has like a little quote unquote arena tournament that they do, but I mean, it was a one and done thing just because it wasn't cost effective. I just don't see this working out. I really, really, it would be awesome to see it happen, especially since it's another arena league. Because right now we only have one major other arena league playing right now. But yeah, I just kind of like Cody said, man, I just see too many red flags. I hope it works out. I'm not going to call it anything yet, but it's just really up in the air for me. I can't get behind it until I see some more stuff.
Absolutely. So a couple questions here that I want to get to. How are we comparing teams that can't pay buses to a new league with different investors? Well, I mean, the fact that we have teams that are having a struggle paying for domestic travel versus a league that's talking about international travel would be the comparison there. Comparing the financials of teams in the NAL and AF1 and IFL versus a team that is or a league that is trying to travel between countries. That's the point. We're trying to, yes, it's different money, my friend, but where's the money coming from? That's everybody's question. Where's the money coming from? So in the AF1, the IFL, the NAL, all of those are individual team entities. This is a single entity that is apparently bankrolling all of it. Okay, so where's that money coming from? That's the big question. That's the difference between all these other leagues. We can point to an ownership in Vegas for the Nighthawks and say, that guy owns an NHL team. He's probably not going anywhere. Or, you look across the league, Massachusetts or now Orlando, great ownership group, dumps lots of money in their team, so stuff like that. It's a comparison. It's not.
But Sam, hold on a second. Since you're talking about money, let's just break it down to what they're saying, right? And I'll start with the in-season tournament or the end-of-season tournament, right? And I've heard it on multiple press conferences. This says the $2 million is to be divided by the organization that wins, not the team or the players, but the organization. So that's the first catch, right? Secondly, they're saying they're going to pay, and you got to, I'm going to do quick math. You're a 30-man roster at $1,000 a game, right? Times 10 teams is $300,000 a week in payroll, plus $1,000 win bonus. Half the teams win, so that's another $150,000. So it's $450,000 a week in just player payroll. Hold on, Daddy's on the phone. On the player payroll before we ever get to coaches, housing, travel. I heard that players are going to have to get their own insurance. So that screams. That means if that's the case, that means you don't have work comp. I hope it works, but being here in Vegas and going to a press conference where there's 14 people there, 12 people with IAL logo polos on, and me and another guy who I brought with me, I just I got too many red flags when it comes to just the financial part of it. Especially, and you say you're going up and trying to do something that the NFL, the largest league in the world, hasn't been able to capture. They haven't been able to figure out how to have teams overseas and in Europe and in different countries and stuff like that. How are we doing it? Like, I just make it make sense financially. And if you can show me how it makes sense financially, hey, I'm all aboard. But until then, I've been around too long, and we all have. So yeah, there's a lot of skepticism.
Also, with that, where's the single entity located? Is it located in the United States? Because what if a player gets hurt in Europe? Is there workers' comp? Is there insurance? What's going on with all those other hidden costs that you didn't even mention when it comes to?
100%.
It's I don't.
Well,
get it.
I asked this to a person in the league, and I'm like, hey, so that means everybody has to have a passport and a clean record and all that. And what was said to me is like, oh, they're gonna have a work visa. Well, hello, McFly, you can't be an American and get a work visa playing in the U.S. going to play one game in Europe. Like, it doesn't work. Like, I was in the CFL. It doesn't work like that. You have to be based in Europe, being an American, to get a work visa. So there's so many loopholes and hoops you have to go through. It's unbelievable.
Agreed. And that's kind of our point, though. Like you said, I mean, the IFL is the most stable indoor league anywhere. And if they aren't sending teams overseas, why should we believe a brand new entity that has never played football before is able to make that work financially? That's the part that concerns me is, we're considering one single entity is going to make all of this money work. Whereas, no one single entity in any of these other leagues could do that. So it's just confusing to me. I have heard that there are 8 to 9 investors, but I have heard all that money's coming from overseas, which is also another concern, right? So does the money always come? Who's it coming from? Is it legal? That wasn't something I necessarily brought up in the past, but Texas Pete mentions that another cartel league, the IFA. We know about the cartel ties to the LFA, the IFA, the FAM before it. So, that's realistic thought process. Where's the vetting coming from? Are you vetting these owners the same way you would American? There's so many different avenues this could go down. It's crazy. But it's one of these things that there isn't enough information out there for anybody to feel 100% comfortable with it, unless maybe you're in the league, I suppose.
I go back and I will challenge all you guys on here. Go back and watch every press conference, right? And there's a couple of things that stick out. You obviously, this world we live in, you can find anything. It starts with the top. Start with the tip of the iceberg and find out every person. You're going to and what they say they have done and what they're doing. You have, and I'm not going to point anybody out, but you have some leadership in the league that say they were a president of a league. Well, you were a ticket sales guy. You have some people that say, "Oh, I was very public about it." Somebody came out and said, "Oh, I have a record of 40-2, but you were 1-7 last year." How do we just get to throw out the years that we want? You know what I'm saying? It's everybody wants to say that we're better than what we are. And I said this yesterday. I've taken it down since, but coaches get in this business to help play. Well, most coaches get in this business to help players. It's not about me. It's not about my record. It's not about Vegas. It's about helping guys get promoted, making them a better man, use a platform and get them out here. Yes. Does the team like to make money? Yes. But you have to work to do that. So when you come into certain cities, and if you look, obviously we have a team in Vegas, Utah, they're announcing, oh, if the season ticket holders buy season tickets, if your team wins the championship, your season tickets next year are free. Well, this is public knowledge. Fortunate enough, being around a long time, I know that the team in Utah, I was told yesterday, they have 40 season ticket deposits. The team in Vegas, I heard they had 3. So how's this promotion going to work? And what happens if your team wins the championship and it's not sustainable year 2? You get your money back?
Yeah, absolutely. And to be
You know,
clear,
and this is not me bagging the league. I just you throw things out there that being around the business for so long, how does it work? Right? Like if it works, I will publicly come on here and eat crow. But you got to show me it all works.
Well,
that's fair. That's fair.
Didn't the NAL have the Monterey team, right? I can't remember their name, but they were only around for what, 1 or 2 years?
Monterey Steel.
Yeah, and they were on Univision because they had the contract with the Univision to play a couple of games, and they were only around for a couple of years because travel, because visas, because passports. Why do you think that there's been no indoor NAL, IFL, whatever, to go to Canada, to go back to Mexico, to do any of these things? Is because it's just the travel, the passports to get everyone located with all. It's too much. It's too much.
Agreed.
And Monterey was a good team that year too. They only lost one regular season game all year, so they had everything going for them.
Agreed. TJ, I know you got to get out of here soon. I wanted to get your insight. I know that you have talked to, is it Greg Fornario? Did I pronounce that correctly?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so you've had previous conversations with him, and granted, this was years ago, but it's just a little bit of context to add to the situation. So I'm curious, like, tell us about your conversation and your time speaking with him, real quick.
Yeah, it was back in 2021. I was with the Reading Raptors, and we got to the EIF championship that year. Greg actually funded for the championship to be in West Virginia. He broke out the turf, had it all set up. It was the old LA Kiss turf. I'm going to tell you right now, the nicest turf I ever stepped on in an arena field. No offense, Lehigh Valley, but man, you can't compete with the old AFL LA Kiss stuff. But after the game, we won, and I went outside, to take a little breather, hit my vape, and I walk outside, and there's this dude leaning there by the door, super muscly with a cigar, and I'm like, I should know who this guy is, but for some reason I'm blanking right now because I got all these emotions. I'm a couple, adult beverages in because we want to chip, so. We start talking, and then I realize, oh, yeah, this is Greg. This is the big guy here. So we start talking. I thank him for throwing everything together, and he starts asking me questions about, like our team, like Reading, the area, stuff like that. And I say, yeah, for a minor pro team, we do pretty good and everything else. And I pointed him in the direction of our owner, who was, obviously there on the field partying and stuff. And whether they had that conversation or not, I don't know. But the point is, man, he has had Reading on his radar potentially for a couple of years now, and he's always been interested in getting back into the game since the Rough Riders. But yeah, that championship game though, man, it was great. We won it. He even after the game had a bunch of alum come back and play like an all-star alum game. At the time, Greg Hardy, he even showed up and he was there. So, I mean, it was a crazy scenes. But yeah, the guy has always had a passion for it, and he's potentially been slow playing, bringing a team to Reading for a while now.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, just a little bit of context, but 6 degrees of separation. We're here to add any little bit of information we can to this situation. So I wanted to have TJ throw that out there because he had mentioned that to us on our group chat earlier this week. But TJ, I know you got to get out of here, man. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Really appreciate it as always. Look forward to seeing you next week. Muted, buddy.
Muted. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend. And, Coach, thanks for coming on, man. Good seeing you.
Thanks, TJ.
Also, just wanted to throw out there, in a week, we will be launching a UFL show again. It's been a year since we had one. TJ will be one of the co-hosts on that. It's going to be on Sunday mornings. So if you like this Saturday morning vibe, you can join us on Sunday mornings for UFL coverage in the future. So just wanted to throw that out there. So now that we've kind of discussed all of the league stuff, we do have one question. What did you all like about what you've heard so far? And she follows up by saying nothing. I'm going to take this one real quick. I personally have heard a couple things that I do like. I heard that some coaches were paid multiple months of salary up front, which is promising. assuming that they got paid before they signed their contracts. That's always a good thing, I think, especially because it gives them a little bit more faith in bringing players to wherever they may be. So that's a good thing. I also like the way that they're trying to do the travel. Like, obviously there's still some questions, but doing 2 games in one country and then flying back makes a lot more sense than, flying over for 1 week and then turning around, going right back home. So I do like that. I like some of the branding. Some of it's a little funky, but other than that, there's still a lot of questions left. I also like some of the coaching hires. Sia Burley, Sean King, I think are both solid hires. We'll see what happens with the rest of the teams, though.
I think there's a lot of things that potentially like, right? The travel is a cool idea. The pay is cool. But again, you got to show me how that's going to work. Like, so let's just say hypothetically the money's out. How are you getting money? How are you making money? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is, unless you have some crazy international European sponsors, I don't see it. And call me a skeptic all you want. I just, we've all been around long enough to know, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, normally it's a duck.
I like that. We have another person who wants to chime in. So who better to talk about a brand new league than Ricky Burtz? Thank you for joining us, Ricky. We appreciate it. I imagine you have something to add.
Yeah, no, I think that Coach Davis, in his very unique way, he lined something out there. Oh, did he drop off the call?
I think he's been having issues. He keeps popping off and popping right back on.
Hopefully he jumps back on here. But there he is. Oop, hopefully he comes on in. There, Coach is back. So, Coach, you were at the press conference, and you know this business just as well as anybody else. So you talked about the insurance requirements for the players. Okay. First of all, as I put in a comment on there, workers' comp is federally required. Like, you can't get by without it. Anybody that doesn't know about that or whatever. So, Coach, we'll say, they have 10 teams, 30 players a team. That is 300 different workers' comp policies that they're going to require those players to set up. So, Coach, what happened? As you and I know, you have to pay a considerable amount of your workers' comp premium up front. So guys are going to be fronting thousands of dollars right off the bat for their workers' comp insurance, if they were even to go to the ability of having their own insurance, which isn't going to work. You know what I mean? And then, Coach, what happens if player A pays his insurance and player B doesn't because, hey, it's a lapse, he's late, whatever it might be? Because as you and I know, they'll cancel your insurance policy because of lack of payment in a New York minute, So what happens if that guy gets injured playing during the football game and everything else? Whose liability is that going to be? Where's that going to fall on? As you said, Coach, there are so many red flags about all this. Never mind the fact that, you hit the nail on the head. Just their salary alone is $4.5 million, The workers' comp policy for that, as you and I know, is going to be probably in the $10 million range. You can disagree with me, but that puts you.
No, you're going to have a 1.5 to, depending on what state you're calling your home base, which their league office is here in Vegas. Supposedly, there's no address. I asked at the press conference where the league office is. Oh, it's down the street. What's down the street? Nobody will say anything about it, which is fine. That they want to keep it quiet. It's not like I'm popping up to the league office. What I've driven by, absolutely, because I feel like this is the boiler room type of stuff I got going on, and so it's like, guys, just be transparent. Just let me know how it works.
Yeah, well, so I've had several people reach out to me about this, and the only thing that makes sense to me. I did not consider Sam's comment earlier about, hey, what kind of money? Is it clean money? Is it dirty money or whatever? Never considered that, But the only way this works is if they literally have somebody that is willing to lose tens of millions of dollars. Because, Coach, they're supposed to be kicking off here in a couple months. And just like with you, Coach, in May of 2025, we were working on March of 2026. And no disrespect to any other organization or whatever. we've been around for a couple of decades, as you know, Coach. You've been here yourself. I mean, we've been working for months, and we're an established franchise. They're supposed to kick everything off the ground. And I don't even want to get into, I've heard some rumors of the football field turf that they're buying and stuff that is going to be probably questionable standards, I guess you could call it, because it's been around for X number of years and all that. But you're going to drop $450,000 a week on your player salary, but yet you're going to have them playing on football fields that are a fraction of your player salary a game. It makes no sense at all. I'd love to see it work, but like you said, Coach, and I wouldn't blame you if they had a press conference in Omaha. I'd go myself, because what all of us do, and Coach and I have talked about this, Coach Davis and I have talked about it. What Omaha does directly or indirectly impacts Vegas and other teams and stuff like that. We saw that this year with a certain league throwing out certain salaries and everything else to players. Again, none of this makes any sense at all unless somebody's willing to lose literally tens of millions of dollars. And I've never met anybody that's prepared to do that.
Well, Mike, it's not just the salaries and stuff like that. You're also looking at plane tickets. You're not taking private jets to and from. So you're going to have to pay for plane tickets for 30 players, plus all the coaches, everything like that. You got to ship the uniforms and the pads and everything like that back and forth. So, those are just, again, costs that people do not think about when it comes to what you're shipping to and from. And then you're looking at time zones. You're looking at issues when it comes to time zones of, excuse me, teams got a home game in Germany. What time are they playing? And what time is that American? Who is the target audience for this? You got a home game in Vegas. Okay, cool. What time is that in Europe for them to watch it? So it's all just kind of very convoluted, in my opinion, when it comes to, you have all these bright ideas, but I don't think they make a lot of logical sense.
Well, Cody, yesterday I spoke to a buddy of mine who's a coach overseas, in said country, and he goes, "Coach, I don't understand how it's going to work, because when it gets nice, we don't want to be inside. You get April, May, June, we're utilizing the time that we can because it's gorgeous weather over here. We're not going inside to watch, or we haven't gone inside to watch a sporting event, because we enjoy the time outside. We're cooped up long enough." So I relate that to like being in Canada. When you're cooped up for 6 months, you want to get outside.
So Coach, just based upon the information that and this is your best educated guess, how much do you think it's going to cost them annually, just with all the numbers they're throwing out? How much do you think it's going to cost them when you factor in housing, salaries, travel, as Cody talked about, insurance, arena rent? I've got a number in my head. I could spit out my number now,
15 million.
Oh, it's gonna be more than that, Coach.
But I'm being nice. I'm saying, okay, let's say they have their tickets bought now, right? Let's say they're the problem, and it probably is way more than that. But I'm going to go is like, look at the GMs they hired. Adrian Ross was an NFL player in Cincinnati, right? They want the recognition. They hired Mark McMillan to be the GM here. Mark McMillan wasn't in the press conference because he had supposedly had prior engagements. And I've texted with Mark, and he did, right? But if that's your brand, why don't you push the press conference a day till the guy's back in town?
100%. You know
what I'm saying? And I understand what they're doing. They're trying to get credible names in the city. Well, the guy I took to the press conference with me was Hunky Cooper, who was on the show for them. And he's like, "Mike, I want nothing to do with this. I'm not going to have anything to do with it." And Mark Millen and him are boys. He goes, "I will not let you burn down my city." That was his exact words in the press conference.
So I think it's probably one of those things that people that are looking into this have a backup plan, or maybe in essence make this your backup plan while you learn for other avenues. I don't think, as you said before, Coach, we want to see it succeed. I want all leagues, all teams, regardless of what style of play, where they're at and all that, I want them to succeed, because what one team does directly or indirectly impacts the rest of us.
For sure.
And unfortunately, Coach, and I know you've lived this, we have to pay the price for teams and leagues that don't have their crap together, because we're the ones that are around playing year after year. So I'd say with you, Coach, and myself included, we're the ones that have to carry the burden of them failing because, well, I did this and I did that and I did that. Well, I understand, but that's not us. We're the ones that are left cleaning up the mess that they create. I don't want it to be a mess. It potentially sounds like a mess. And I would just say my word of advice to all of the players and them involved would just be, just have an alternative plan because your playing career is just so short, as you know firsthand, Coach.
Well, look at who, again, that's why I told y'all to go back and watch all the press conferences. They announced some players. Well, Arvell Nelson, we know is an elder statesman. Charles McCollum, love Chuck to death, right? He got announced as the quarterback for Cincinnati. I mean, I think Chuck is 35, and I spoke to Chuck. Kenny Veal is another elder statesman. So it's like, I feel like they're all the guys that are hanging on that can still play but aren't in the IFL or aren't in the NAL or aren't in the AF1 are like, I can take a chance on a flyer.
Yeah, that's exactly
and that's their prerogative. The money is the root of all evil. These guys are gonna hold on a second, buddy. These guys are going to turn around and everybody, they're going to chase the dollar, right? And we just spoke about the player salaries. I mean, I know these coaches are getting paid, right? Like one coach I know got 3 months of pay up front before he ever said, I will sign my contract. Right. And so if he's doing that, are the others smart enough to do that?
Hopefully that coaching fraternity runs deep with all the people that they're talking to. You know what I mean? But at the same time, though, I think Coach Davis, let's just, I don't want to put you on the spot. Why do you think they're asking for their salaries up front?
Because they don't trust it. Let's be honest. Like that is.
I didn't want to put the words in your mouth, but
no. I mean, let's be honest. They're as much as skeptic, but you know what? If you're sitting at home without a job and somebody strokes you a few $1,000 check, tens of $1,000 check, from what I've heard, cool, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I just got done paying for Christmas.
And Coach, I know you share my feelings. It's not that we don't want them to not succeed. We're not wanting. I mean, we would love nothing more for that to happen. You know what I mean? We would love nothing more than that for that to happen. So, like I said, we're very skeptical based upon. I mean, between you and I, Coach, we're talking 40 years of experience in the industry between the two of us. And that doesn't count Cody and Sam and everybody else. But like you said, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it very well is probably going to be a duck. If they're telling you it's a shark instead, hey, so be it. But again, just proceed with caution. So,
yeah, again, and this is not me bashing any league. I know people are like, oh, he only gets on when it's something else. That's not the case, right? Because I'm an advocate for the players, right? Hell, I probably should be an agent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to steal your thunder on that, but oh shoot, we lost him. Gosh darn, he's got it. Oh, there he is. Coach, you've bent over backwards to help players going to other leagues, making sure they're taken care of. And we lost Coach again.
I think he's getting a phone call or something. He's probably getting, outrage calls right now from everything he said.
Yeah. So no, I mean, so you got Coach Davis in one league, I'm in another league. And I would venture to say if you get people in other leagues, Sam or Cody or Krish or anybody, again, we want to tell the guys, hey, just to proceed with caution,
Exactly.
There's a lot of red flags, and unfortunately in this business, everybody's just got to be. I mean, your senses have got to be up. So have an alternative plan, and just don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because I hate to say it, unfortunately, what was that? I mean, we could go after league after league after league. The one with the guy for the gosh darn, he was going to have the team in Oklahoma and. I don't even remember the league now. There's just been so many of them I've lost track.
That's completely fair. And I just want to point out that, for anybody thinking that Coach Davis and or Ricky here have ill will toward anybody, I would point to the comment that Ricky put in the chat earlier about Nebraska. That's in his market that he's directly competing with in Grand Island. And he had nothing but good things to say about their GM that was hired. So, I mean, that should tell you everything you need to know. He's not going to bash something for no reason or, point out concerns about anything for no reason. He's legitimately trying to provide information to people who need it. So I just want to put that out because this is not a bash session by any stretch.
And again, I have zero concerns at all about Matt Hayward and what they're doing. Matt is an incredible guy. He's going to do a phenomenal job for them. They're going to be incredibly successful in so many levels. I got I might go down to the casino and put a bet on who I think their next coach is going to be and stuff like that if it's on the bet line. So, but no. And Coach, I know you dropped off there, Coach. I think the thing I was emphasizing while you were gone is that we don't want to see teams fail. You know, we want to sit up and we lost them again. Well, this will be fun for them to go back and watch it again. So,
agreed. But thank you for your time, Ricky.
Guys. Unless you got any questions, I'll head out of here. But hey, appreciate what you guys do, guys. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely. As always, appreciate your time and you hopping on and giving your insight.
You guys have a good one. Appreciate it.
You as well. Have a good one. As always, gotta love this show and the reoccurring broadcast studios in StreamYard now that allows guests to just pop up whenever they would like. It's made for very interesting aspects to the show at times when we start discussing things and certain people jump on. So just a little bit of little extra insight there. So
I do have a question for you guys, you specifically. Why has the CFL never? I know the CFL used to have teams in the U.S. Have they thought about doing that again, or is it because of travel they haven't?
100% they have thought about it doing it again. It was a lot because of travel, and honestly, I think part of it was because the CFL gameplay was so foreign to America that it didn't really catch on quite as they had hoped. But also the CFL, a lot of their franchises do not operate in profit currently, so that's kind of a concern as well. So I know the league itself is growing, and there's definitely a thought process that they could revisit that in the future. I think the USFL and the XFL have kind of put a damper on that in recent seasons. If you go back and look back in 2020, there was talks of the CFL and the XFL combining to basically design that situation where there would be two leagues that would play, each other essentially. It never quite happened in 2020. As we know, that's when the new ownership group came in for the XFL, and then they became the UFL. So I think that's part of the reason why is because the UFL and the relative stability of them, sticking around since 2022. So I think that's why, but I think that eventually it will probably trend that direction again. And I could be wrong, but I think we'll see it at some point. Yeah, that's fair. Player quality is also a big factor. Obviously, as you know, in the CFL, you have to have a certain amount of Canadians, which I don't think applied to the U.S. teams. So they were able to bring in nothing but U.S. players. So.
And I see that. And one thing, too, I like what Coach Davis said to add on to it. It's like once you hit 28, 29, your window to move up to the CFL or UFL or NFL from indoor football essentially shuts, right? So a lot of guys, they're not really doing research on the background of a league. If someone calls them up and offers them $1,000, they're going to run. Like a player I use as an example is Sheldon Augustine.
Yeah.
Sheldon Augustine, I remember to give that too. Sheldon Augustine, he's played. He won a championship in Iowa. He played in Tulsa this past year. He played in Tucson. He's done everything in the IFL. Not necessarily yard number wise, but he's experienced almost every situation in the IFL from the good, bad, or medium. So for him, it's like I'm making, I'm 33 years old. I'm not going to make it to the next level. What's the point of me continuing to, play for that money? But, so it's just, I see why, guys are enticed. Should they do their research? Absolutely. But I see why. Gotta make that move.
Yeah. And okay, we discussed the coaches potentially getting some of their salary up front. One thing I have not discussed or talked to any player about, are they getting signing bonuses? Because if they are, then guys are more likely to go, right? If you're going to hand me $1,000 to sign that contract, chances are I'm going to go sign with you because look, if I'm going to go play in the IFL, I might make $250 a game. That's 4 games. So worst case scenario, I buy myself a month of time to decide if this league's going to work. And if not, I'm out and I go to an IFL, NAL, or TAL or AF1 team, So I think there's something to be said about that. But also, like Coach mentioned before, these are the players that I have listed so far signed. Charles McCullum, damn near 40. Sheldon Augustine, over 30. James Hines, I think he's 30. He's one of the younger players. Kenny Veal is also signed. Arvell Nelson. So a lot of these players, Arian Maxey, I think he's on the younger side as well, if I remember correctly. Justin Morgan, an offensive line with Vegas. So primarily veteran players that are, like Krish said, on the back nine in their careers that can kind of take that risk and not necessarily ruin their chances to get another opportunity.
Exactly, and like for Aaron Maxipenden, I mean, that's my guy, right? Like he was our DB coach last year, played DB for us in 2021 and 2022. You know, talking to him at the end of last season, I asked, "Hey, are you planning on playing again?" He had no plans whatsoever. He was done. And so he actually lived in Arizona. So I see why, you know, local connection, they signed him. The money was enticing. It doesn't surprise me, but like Justin Morgan, right? Offensive lineman. He's a lineman. He played for us. Also, he's from Stony Brook. Another guy. You know what I mean? Like he's been out of football for almost 2-3 years at this point. So, you know, make a quick extra $1,000. The breaking news, what I've heard from multiple sources, and you know, I'll wait till this is confirmed to be true, but the Pennsylvania IL team is going out and they're going to hire Lee Johnson. You know, Coach Lee Johnson is going to be the next head coach. Lee Johnson was the defense coordinator in San Antonio the past 2 seasons. Great defense coordinator in Carolina in 2023. Big reason they got to the championship. So, you know, he'll be the head coach. He has connections to the Pennsylvania area as well.
That is from multiple sources. I've also heard that as well. So it most likely trending that direction if it hasn't already happened.
So I'm happy for Coach Lee, man. I mean, he's a good coach. He lives in St. Louis, but he's coached in Pennsylvania before. So, you know, I'm excited to see. And I know him. He's one of those guys where he definitely got paid up front. Yeah,
I believe it. Yeah, he's been in some good locations. He's also been through some rough times, so he probably understands, you know, what's at stake. But let's break that down real quick. So we've talked about some of the coaches, so I'm going to go ahead and lay out the list so far that we have. And in Vegas, we have Mook Zimmerman, previously the head coach of the Iowa Woo. I believe he was with Richmond at one point as well. His GM is Mark McMillan. As of right now, I have not heard of any more of his staff. I might have missed it sometime. Krish, do you know of any of other his staff members he's hired?
No, he still hasn't hired anyone.
Okay. Saya Burley was hired by Utah. Jason Allen was hired as the head coach and defensive coordinator for Arizona. I skipped over this. I imagine Burley's going to call plays in Utah, so he'll probably be head coach and offensive coordinator. In Arizona, Jason Allen, head coach, defensive coordinator. James Johnson, I believe, is his GM, which is based in Columbus. Thought that was slightly weird. And he's working to hire an offensive coordinator as well as an offensive line and defensive line coach. In Cincinnati, we have Sean King. Sean King was previously the head coach of the Billings Outlaws before Gillette shuttered and Walker moved over to Billings. And he became the head coach of Rapid City, which unfortunately folded in 2024. Spent some time with Salina and was a free agent this offseason. So good hire there as well. But as far as the coaching staffs that have been hired so far, what do you guys think about the level of coaches they're able to get to the league? I mean, do you feel that helps the legitimacy? Let's go to Cody first on this one. Sorry, Krish.
It can. I think we've talked about it either in a previous episode, like last week or the week before. I can't remember, but there are only so many head coaching opportunities in the IFL, only so many head coaching opportunities in the NAL, AF1, what have you. So if they're not getting coordinator head coaching positions, they're just kind of going down the list. Now, part of it could be like Coach Davis mentioned, and I think we mentioned it last week. If you've got a coach that's offering your 3 months up front or whatever the case could be, then they've got some negotiation tactics, and it looks like the credibility can be there. But I mean, I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I do not know why we are wasting so much time on this. It's fresh and new. We have no other news from all the other leagues, so I get it, but I don't know. We'll see.
That's fair. I mean, it's definitely a fair take. And to be fair, we are rounding out the coverage here. I mean, there's not really a ton to talk about. We will spend a little bit of time on the overseas teams once I, gather all the information about that. But I mean, we're talking about it because, like you said, it's new, it's fresh, it's in the middle of the off season when we're kind of running out of things to talk about with the IFL, AF1.
No, look, it has a direct effect. I see what I 100% agree with you, Cody. 100% agree. But the money in it, right? Like a lot of high level players or high level veteran players, we could see them jumping over and leaving their teams and leagues, and so it has a domino effect in that sense.
Well, unless the league is sponsored by AARP, I don't really know what we're doing. Like, yeah, you've got a whole bunch of players that played all the way back in the AFL 2.0 days with like Arvell Nelson. And I mean, Charles McCullen's been all around. Name a league that he hasn't played for. It's perfectly fine that these guys want to go and continue their careers because they're not getting opportunities elsewhere. That's not a jab at them. It's they want to continue to keep playing. The other teams are saying, we don't want to hire you. We don't want you to play. We've got other talent. It's just, okay, cool. They're going to try and keep playing for as long as they can and keep collecting checks or doing whatever they can. Perfectly fine. I have no issue with that. My issue is that we don't know what's going on with this. And like I've said, until they complete a season, no teams fold or anything like that, I just cannot give it too much breath. I just can't.
That's fair. That's fair completely. And like I said, honestly, we probably wouldn't be spending this much time on it if it weren't the dregs of the off season. But there are a lot of, big name players and coaches getting involved that make me wonder, about what's going on behind the scenes. And one thing I have heard, which also encouraged me quite a bit, and this is something I should have said earlier, but I've heard arena deposits have already been made. So that is one big piece of information that makes me think this could potentially at least play some games. So that's the big concern that we have going forward. So, yeah, like you said, Cody, I honestly don't want to spend too much more time about this. We've honestly spent a lot of time on it already, and having Mike and Ricky jump on to discuss it as well was interesting. So Can
I ask one more question? Not to cut you off. I do apologize.
No, you're good.
Did you say that they're playing arena rules, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Where are they getting the nets?
That is another question. And we're pretty late in the process.
Because how bad was it with AFL?
It was terrible.
Yeah. And you're going to have them ship them overseas? Come on now.
Well, to be fair, on that note, I know a lot of the net structures are purchased overseas and then shipped over here, for the record. So for that thought,
I get it.
But no, you're 100% right. That's like $30,000 to $40,000 per team just to purchase the net structure. That's not even counting assembling and hanging it.
Yeah.
I know the Carolina Cobras, at least reading the back of the net they had in 2023 and 2024, it said made in China. So, that's still, far off from Europe.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not saying that it's in Europe where they're getting assembled. To my understanding, I believe it was somewhere in Asia, if I remember correctly. But regardless, the point is, like, it's not a cheap undertaking, and that's a concern. Another concern that I didn't point out earlier that I will point out now. I've watched the Vegas press conference all the way through. I watched Arizona all the way through. I watched Utah all the way through. I have not finished Cincinnati yet. And I haven't watched all the overseas ones yet. But what I noticed is there were key questions throughout the conversations. Throughout the conversations, like a reporter would ask a question about like roster size, and Mook would answer about 30. Like, wait a minute, you're supposed to start your season and end by the same time the IFL does. You don't know for sure that we're playing arena rules. You don't know for sure you're going to have rebound nets. You don't know for sure that you're going to have roster sizes. You can't even tell people where the league offices are.
Exactly. And like with Mook, I like I said, I know Mook. I hear Mook a lot of crap these past couple of weeks, but the thing is, like, Mook, when you talk to him, like, outside, like, privately, like, yeah, he's a nice guy, but the way he acted in that press conference was disgusting. It was so disgusting. He acted like an entitled, you listening to Mook, you would think he's won 10 IFL championships the way he was acting. Completely inappropriate, and you can't have that level of entitlement when you went 1-7 with the Iowa Rule. You can't. You can't. So it's like, for me, answering questions and like another thing I want to add, those press conferences, those questions were they seem premeditated. There were no hard questions at all. If you watch every single one of the U.S. teams, none. No one asked where the money's coming from. When did you start doing this? How did you plan it? How are you going to get nets? All these things we're talking about, none of that was asked.
Well, did you hear what Mike said? And again, I'm not saying this is confirmed information, but Coach Davis said there was 10 people at that, or 12 people at that press conference. 10 of them were wearing IAL polos. So the questions that they were lobbing were softball questions, and still there were answers that they didn't have. So yes,
those weren't softballs; those were beach balls.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, they were basically trying to throw up easy questions at the guys. Allow them to answer what they can. And don't get me wrong, I get it. As Cody mentioned, in the 2024 AFL, a lot of the same stuff popped up. They didn't have a rule book established. They didn't have net structures until the last second. They didn't have jerseys. They didn't have this. They didn't have that. And that's why there's such concern about this league, is because a lot of it is following in the footsteps of AFL 3.0.
They didn't have teams.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have teams. They had the Dallas Falcons play 2 games as the Philadelphia Soul. Are you going to have that? Are you going to do that again if teams can't make their flight? Like I said earlier, they're not taking private jets over here. If you're not going from Dusseldorf, Germany, all the way over here, if you miss your flight, you ain't playing. So who do you get? Again, it does not make sense to me. It doesn't.
And one of the things too is, your league is presentable. How presentable is it, right? So during the press conferences, like Mook, take off your glasses. No one wants to see your sunglasses. You look funny. It looks unprofessional. And you look like a self-promoter, right? Another thing is Deshaun King. He looked great. He was dressed right. Like, you could tell, like, he's professional. Sia Burley, professional, right? That Jay Allen in Arizona, he looked like he just got out of bed. You know what I mean? Like, he looked like really just unkept, like, ripped jeans. Like, what do you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to make this league already right off the bat. You have questions on how professional some of these coaches are. So.
Well, and that we haven't even touched on the press conferences themselves. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. I understand a lot of this was rushed. We here could run a better press conference than every single one of the ones that were done. And we here on this show get more views on one episode than they got on their entire lineup. But that's the extent of me sounding cocky today. I'm just saying there needs to be effort and things to show that you're a realistic league before anybody's going to really put their time and energy in it. So, good on these coaches for taking the risk on themselves and betting on themselves and stuff like that. And I know some of these contracts have clauses written in there to protect the coaches as well, which is I'm happy to hear. So I hope those same protections extend to the players. But with all that being said, man, we've talked about a lot. We've been on here for over 3 hours at this point. I think we've pretty much exhausted all the topics that I had on the list today. Any final thoughts from you guys before we get out of here? Oh, wait. I forgot. We were supposed to do our NAL quarterback list.
No, we'll do it. We can do that next week.
Maybe if the IAL does one, they can get more views. Boom.
No, I do want to say that real quick, and not to get
oh Lord.
But this week I put out my NAL coach tier rankings, right? And I got a lot of crap, man. Hey, you can crap on me all you want. But don't crap on my work, man. Like, I put a lot of work into those and a lot of research. And I know, guys like Cody, whatever, like, just wait. I don't wait. I do my stuff now. And if I'm wrong, I'll eat it. But the thing is, like, I know my work. I know what the value of it, and I know I'm right. So Coach Solo, Coach K, put your sunglasses on because it's going to be a long season,
Oh, my Lord. Here we go again.
No, honestly, like, I do appreciate Coach Solo did reach out, whatever. And I appreciate the discussion, the comments, everything. But, we'll see what happens during the season. But just screenshot that because I promise you those rankings are 100% non-biased. If I was biased, I would have put Coach Negron in the high tier. No,
yes, you would have.
I put him in the middle tier. He's a middle tier coach right now. And that's what it is. He hasn't coached enough games to be at the high level tier. So that's how I did it. I did it based on, Coach Irv and Coach O. I mean, they won a ton of games, many championships, between the two. So that's how it was done. It was done in longevity. And I know people say, oh, you should put Solo higher. But I had to go off of Wichita. right? Solo was 2-6 in Wichita. Tay was 1-7. They're 3-13 combined. So how can I put that in the middle tier? I, as an individual coach, I surely could have put, if we were doing offensive coordinator rankings, Coach Solo would probably be 1 or 2.
Yeah,
You know? So
absolutely. And it's also a preseason ranking, guys. It's a preseason ranking. It can change, for the record. We're not saying these guys are terrible coaches. We're saying they're in a league where 2 surefire Hall of Famers are at the top. And then you have 3 guys right below them where 2 of them have been to NAL championships. One has never played in the NAL, but has been to the playoffs the past 2 seasons of his coaching career in the indoors. And then you've got, 3 guys who are fairly new to indoor football.
Yeah, and the whole point is, again, to bring conversation. Like, my rankings got, I mean, not to be cocky or anything, but like, I mean, last year I was averaging like what, 25,000, 26,000 views per ranking. This one got what, 19,000? That's 19,000 eyes to the NAL that they might have not had before. My rankings get more views than their stuff. So that's why I do it. That's the whole point. It's just to have fun.
Guys, it's to promote conversation. We're not trying to upset anybody. We're not trying to piss anybody off. It's to create conversation. We are a multimedia network. We would like to have engagement and conversation with you guys. So if you think we're wrong, tell us that, but don't take offense to it. It's our opinions. So Cody, it looked like you had something to say in there.
I'll just say Krish is not wrong. He's just early. That's how you always combat it. You're not wrong. You're just early. You wait for it to come out.
There you go. That's fair. That's fair for sure. So yeah, on that note, I think we've covered everything. This has been a great show. 100+ live viewers in the middle of the off season, guys. So that's credit to you guys watching. We really appreciate it. And as I said before, every like counts. It helps push this content out to new viewers on whatever profile you're watching on. So if you're on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, it does not matter. Hit the like button, share it with your friends. If you know anybody who likes football, even if they're not into indoor football, let's expose them to some indoor football. Let's get them in this sport as well. That's what we need, more casual fans to help support these teams and leagues. But also shout out to all our partners, whether it's the Wheeling Miners, the Omaha Beef, the Columbus Lions, or any of our other sponsors that have helped make this happen, as well as our partners over the AL and AAL too. They do a lot of things to make this continue running on a yearly basis and to help us, continue to bring great coverage to you.
Shout out to Coach Davis. Appreciate the merch job. He got me right with a nice hoodie and everything. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, if only we could get TJ stuff to him. Hint, hint, shipping. Just kidding. On that note, it's been a great episode. So just one last reminder, go check out the Shady Sports Network merch at brandingblanks.com. We also still have plenty of stickers left if you want to grab one of those. They are 3 for $3 or 1 for $1. So just hit me up, 1 for $2. So just hit me up if you would like a sticker, and we'll get you sent them out, or we'll get that sent out to you. And we will move on and move in and see you guys in the next episode. So catch you guys next Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern time. If today was your first time watching, we really appreciate you guys joining us, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yo, what's good? Cedric the bus driver here. I don't know about you guys, but I know what I will be doing every Tuesday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Thursday nights too. I'll be over at Shady Sports Network, so catch up with me. Holla at your boy.